Promo code UP80 for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's code UP80. Use code UP80 for an extra 25 cents per gallon back in your first fill-up. Cashback's not available in gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Hello. I am feeling super inspired today, right now. I don't know if you are, but
I feel like you too could be the president of the
it's
United
because
States.
that's not where I was going with it. I was going to say any time, really, though, that our president speaks.
On the world stage.
It's the wind beneath my wings.
Yeah.
We're good. So he is speaking right now in Lithuania to a crowd who is cheering, and we're all cheering with him.
I think that there's a woo guy there.
You think there's a hype man?
I do.
It certainly seems like
when he says something that is supposed to be an applause line, he doesn't hardly finish it, and this one guy goes, "Whoa!" It's like,
yeah.
"Ooh, a little too soon there, buddy."
And the crowd is like into this like it's a rock concert. It's a little strange. I mean, maybe if you're in Lithuania, it's a big deal to have the president. I don't know. But they seem excited, or they seem like they're being told to be excited. One of the two. This is a pack show. So Carol Roth is going to be here. She is, I'll tell you the name of her book, and you'll know where this is going to go. Very interesting. You Will Own Nothing is the name of Carol Roth's book.
Today is the day 2 of Prime Day.
Yes, and that is a common theme, I guess, then. And I looked at Prime a little bit last night. I got a few items myself. And we probably will talk about that again a little bit today. Carol Roth at 12:25. I'm doing this about as well as a time check.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this is for 13 people and not.
Yeah, that's good. Hi to all of you. After that, Deroy Murdock, who every time he is on, Deroy Murdock is at 1:20 or 1:05. Whenever he is on Fox News.
What's your problem?
I'm thinking too much. I'm thinking too hard about this.
About this?
About this.
Or about something else?
No, about this. Because when I'm talking about Deroy Murdock, I'm thinking about my dad, who every time he sees Deroy Murdock on Fox News is like texting me, "Hey, your buddy's on." I'm like, I don't know if I call him my buddy, but
you might as well if your dad.
Yeah. So Deroy Murdock at 1:05. A roundtable discussion with local business leaders talking about the job market, some things about hiring, where do we stand, where is it compared to 6 months ago, stuff that I would really like to know. That's with Corey Malone of Air Comfort, Nikki Bachman of the Diamond Shop. That's in studio, so that'll be kind of a unique segment at 1:25. Well, hello.
Hello.
I didn't say Wiggins America. We're going to talk about Jack White. If you haven't heard about that, then stick around.
Know how that there's a large portion of our audience who would know who Jack White is.
I don't know.
Jack White is
who that is.
Really?
No.
So lead singer of the White Stripes and the
I think the
Raconteurs.
Jack White audience is us,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of people in our audience who are older, and then of course Hannah is much younger. So.
Yeah. So
I played White Stripes yesterday.
well, let's talk about what you're gonna play at 12:45.
Well, you were doing. What about Jack White? That's not the important part.
Yeah.
Well, he is criticizing anybody who's even willing to speak to Donald Trump. And there's several celebrities that he's calling out. So that's the topic that we're going to talk about at 12:45. Poll, you want to do it?
Today's YouTube live chat poll is asking, who is winning the culture war? The left, the right, no one, or is there not a culture war at all? So let us know what you think on that.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, job relocation houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-3333. That's 782-3333.
Summer is still in full swing, and shopping for your backyard barbecues or your poolside dinners or lunches is made simple when you shop at Ruler Foods. The Ruler Foods closest to you is simple to find. It's probably in your neighborhood, and you might not even have realized it yet. You go to rulerfoods.com, type in your zip code. You're going to be able to find lots of Ruler Foods around here for you to shop. Every single time you shop at Ruler Foods, you're spending less money. That's a smart move. They have the same brands that they have everywhere else that you might shop, but Ruler Foods has it for less. They also stock Kroger brands at Ruler Foods prices. So you know you're getting these quality brands right at your fingertips, saving money every single time. We're going to speak with a guest here in a few minutes about the economy and money and all that stuff that goes into your daily decisions. You're working your butt off. You're trying to save. For me, every opportunity that I have to save a penny, I'm going to invest my time and energy into trying to do that, which is made simple, like I said, at Ruler Foods. Simple, smart, and fresh foods organized for your ease with your shopping experience. And like I said, those brands that you shop for all the time, plus Kroger brands at Ruler Foods prices. Find them online at rulerfoods.com.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
Over 90,000 satisfied customers since 1929. Frederick Roofing, 314-645-2000.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
We all know about the speed of sound, but have you ever thought about the sounds of speeding? Drive too fast and you could hear the sound of your vehicle crashing, because one way or another, speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
Focus Marine Foundation is helping heroes transition from military to civilian life. 97.1 FM Talk is helping Focus Marine Foundation fulfill that mission through our Conservatives Care initiative. Learn more at 971talk.com/care.
This hour of the Annie Frey Show is brought to you by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Everything that the media does with Democrats that they do not do with Republicans, they're teasing you with, oh, if he's befuddled and confused and muttering and stumbling, that somehow that is charming and that's actually evidence of his effectiveness. We all know that it's actually evidence of his age. And look, I'm not an ageist. 80 years old, you can still be highly functional and competent in all sorts of things. But most people watching this don't think that Joe Biden could be running a McDonald's, much less being the president of the United States. And I think more and more Democrats are realizing it, which is why the corporate press like CBS is running these silly headlines.
So Dave Rubin there suggesting that McDonald's wouldn't be a functional place for Joe Biden to be running. We're listening to the president. He's speaking to NATO. He's had a few stumbles as he's talking, and it's not unlike anybody who does all the public speaking that he would normally do on a daily basis isn't going to make mistakes. But again, the context, the full body of work of the president of the United States doesn't give me confidence, and I doubt it gives you confidence, regardless of the side of the aisle that you're on, that this is the guy for the job. If I'm saying it and you're tuning in to 97.1 and you're familiar with 97.1 and Annie was on there talking about how old the president is and stumbling and, there's a lot of, especially, do you remember during the election when people were criticizing or questioning his cognitive ability? A lot of people wanted to remind you that he suffers from a stutter. And if you were to criticize or highlight the idea that he doesn't seem to have a full grasp of his wits, that it would inevitably mean that you were trying to attack people who have some sort of a speech impairment. Listening to the president, watching the president, you see it, I see it. Democrats inside their heart of hearts are looking at Joe Biden going, is this really the best we've got? And thinking, wow, if Gavin Newsom were to have a stab at it, or any of their other Democrat contenders that are sitting on their bench, probably hard for me to assess because I think that one is as dangerous as the other, that you're saying to yourself, this is not another 4-year commitment. It's not. And if you don't believe me that the left is thinking that, take it from Mika Brzezinski.
Do a better job, because you can't have these video images of the president tripping or the president like going the wrong way. It's not going to work in this presidency because his age is going to be a factor. His age is going to be a factor, and it's your job to make sure he gets from one place to another. He can handle the presidency. You have to handle his schedule and where he goes.
So the president is stumbling. He doesn't know how to get off of a stage. He doesn't know what to do when he is to relocate from point A to point B. And that is the problem of the staffers. Mika, I hate to break it to you. It's not the fact that he's not able to get escorted or moved from point A to point B, which there is truth in that there are staffers whose responsibility it is to be nearby and to help the president know this is what we're going to do next. We're going to have a schedule and you're going to go from this to this, not to that. It is a very, very brutal schedule that any president of the United States would keep. That makes sense. We understand that. That's no different for President Trump or Obama or Bush or any of the presidents who have come before. There's a very challenging schedule to keep, and you are surrounded by people who are there to help you with that process. It's about when President Biden is told to go from A to B, and he does the old man shuffle from point A to B, and is often, we've seen by multiple times, being led by the arm by other world leaders to get from A to B. Even when he knows where he's going, he does not seem to be physically fit to carry out that most basic task. Joe Biden and his presence in the White House is a problem for the country on a global stage. I think that that's something that can be said without having to do it from a partisan place. I think we can look at him and we can assess the situation and go, this is not our best foot forward. And I actually would tell you that I fear other Democrats that would be waiting in the wing that could take his place in that position because they would know exactly how to show up on a world stage and own that moment with another world leader and present America as somebody who is in charge, who's making decisions, who is leading regarding whatever the issue at hand is. And I might disagree with every policy decision that that person is making. I might feel as though the direction they're taking this country is one that I'm not in agreement with. But on the surface, truly the politics of the moment, this is not the United States' best foot forward. Right now on Capitol Hill, we have a hearing taking place where Christopher Wray, who is the director of the FBI, and if you have paid any attention to this, you will know and be reminded that he was there under Donald Trump. Donald Trump could have fired him. He didn't. There is a lot of conversation taking place specifically about the weaponization of the FBI. It was a question that I was going to make the poll today. I was going to ask you on the YouTube live chat poll today is, do you believe that the FBI has been weaponized against the American people? I try not to ask questions that I already know the answers to before I put them in the poll. You can leave a comment and tell us if you do believe that. But the idea that there is some sort of justice that exists for one political persuasion versus the other, that is a question that many Americans are asking themselves on a regular basis, and really coming out of the lead up to the 2016 election, we've been wondering the same thing. We found out so much information about what the people who are investigating American citizens, what they were able to get their hands on, their eyes on, to spy on you, to glean information from different sources about you. And you might be saying, well, Annie, it wasn't about me. Not yet. But if you were in a position to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, committing zero crime, you could be in the line of sight of the investigative body of our bureaucratic government, and they could be looking after you. And the question is, does it matter what your political persuasion is when your government that you fund is trying to look into a potential crime and you come across their way? Does it matter your political persuasion? A lot of Americans think it actually does. Matt Gaetz went scorched earth, as Matt Gaetz is generally apt to do, when he was questioning Ray this morning.
How many illegal FISA queries have occurred under your leadership of the FBI?
Well, there are reports that have come out with different numbers about compliance incidents.
More than 1 million illegal ones? Because that's what the Inspector General said. The Inspector General said that in the 3.4 million of these queries, more than 1 million were in error. Do you have any basis to disagree with that assessment by the Inspector General?
I'm not sure actually that's a correct characterization of the Inspector General's findings on that.
Well, the internet will remind you of that in moments. But let's now go to what the court said. The court said it was over 200,000 that have occurred on your watch. Do you have any basis to disagree with that assessment?
Again, I don't have the numbers I sit here right now. What I can
Seems like a number you should know. How many times the FBI is breaking the law under your watch?
When I listen to Congressman Gaetz talking to Christopher Wray, and I listen to more of that from other people, Republican and Democrat, honestly, especially there was one Democrat, and I was listening to it on the radio, on my radio, so I couldn't figure out who it was, and I'm going to go back and find it. But there was questions about the FBI's ability to look at your information, pay publicly available businesses, publicly available information for data about you from places where maybe you were near a store and it picked up your location. And if it picked up your location because they were saying, hey, if you want barbecue and there's somebody who's on their phone within 2 miles of my barbecue joint, I want to serve them an ad that says, hey, you can come use this $3 coupon at my barbecue joint. Well, if the FBI can then take that data that identifies that you pinged this advertisement that was being paid for, which in essence places your phone within 3 miles or 2 miles or whatever the distance is of a specific location, if that also coincides with you being, I don't know, at the Capitol on January 6th, is that something that is a regular part of how the FBI does their business? I mean, believe it all or believe none of it, Dinesh D'Souza used a lot of this type of information when he was putting together his mules. Was it 3,000 mules? I can't remember the number. 2,000 mules? This is the same type of thing that he went through to put together his case. Like I said, take it for what you will. We've had him on the show to talk about it. When Congressman Biggs was talking to Christopher Wray about the FBI's involvement in January 6th, it went a little bit like this.
It has been reported that more than 40 FBI personnel, agents, or contractors were in the crowd on January 6th. Is that number accurate?
I don't know if that number is accurate.
Former Capitol Police Chief Stephen Son reportedly has asserted that the protest crowd was filled with federal agents. Are you aware of his assertion?
I am not.
Would you agree with him that it was filled with federal agents on January 6th?
I would really have to see more closely exactly what he said and get the full context to be able to evaluate it.
Not a yes or no. Biggs pushes further.
How many agents were actually agents or human resources were present at the Capitol complex and vicinity on January 6th?
Well, again, it's going to get confusing because it depends on when we deployed and responded to the breach that occurred. Obviously,
how many were under
federal agents?
Sure. You're talking, and you and I both know what we're talking different things here, and please don't distract here because we're focusing on those who were there in an undercover capacity on January 6th. How many were there?
Again, I'm not sure that I can give you that number as I sit here. I'm not sure there were undercover agents on scene.
I'm not sure, he says. There's a lot of non-answers. Non-answers are important in this type of setting.
I find that kind of a remarkable statement, Director. At this point, you don't know whether there were undercover federal agents, FBI agents in the crowd or in the Capitol on January 6th.
I say that because I want to be very careful. There have been a number of court filings related to some of these topics, and I want to make sure that I stick within what's in.
I understand that, but I thought I heard you say you didn't know whether there were FBI agents or informants or human sources in the Capitol or in the vicinity on January 6th. Did I misunderstand you? I thought that's what you said.
Well, I referred very specifically to undercover agents.
Yeah. And so are you acknowledging then there were undercover agents?
As I sit here right now, I do not believe there were undercover agents on scene.
Any
FBI agents.
Did you have any assets present that day in the crowd?
When it comes to what you're calling assets or what we would call confidential human sources, that's a place where, again, I want to be careful, much as I said in response to an earlier question. There are court filings that I think speak to this that I'm happy to make sure we get to you, assuming they're not under seal. And that can better answer the question than I can as I sit here right now.
It took a long time to say nothing in that exchange. Here's the deal. When it comes to January 6th, when it comes to feds being present or not being present, I don't know what the answer is. I don't have an angle here. I just would like to know the answer. Wouldn't you? How many different controversies, how many different dramatic family-splitting disagreements do you have right now in your life? Where there are people who are in your family, people who are lifelong friends, people who are coworkers who used to get along with and love, and how many instances are there where an issue like January 6th or like COVID or maybe the education system or some of the culture issues that are facing us right now, how many of those keep you from having the relationship that you should have with somebody in your life who is more important to you than some political issue? Because we can't ask questions. We can't get to the bottom of the truth of what took place in any of these various categories. We can't ask questions of anybody who's not going to have a political angle or an axe to grind, one side of that spectrum or the other, so that everyday average folks like you and like me can know what the heck is going on in this country. And the further you are from the truth, which I actually think that when you get to the bottom of a lot of this, sometimes the truth is super boring. That the manifestation that we have in our head about what really went down, we always conjure the craziest, most wild explanations in the absence of actual information, actual reporting, actual journalism that's going in there and asking the tough questions of the people who are in power to get the answers that the American people deserve. You have a right to the truth in this country. I'm glad to see that the House committee here is putting FBI Director Chris Frey to the test, bringing some heat there. But boy, I have more questions. The more I listen to them ask questions, the more questions I end up having, and the less answers I feel like I get. It's dizzying for sure. Carol Roth is going to join us when we come back. She's a former investment banker, also a small business advocate, and she's got a new book coming out. It's called this: You Will Own Nothing. That sounds delightful. Let's talk to Carol Roth with us here on the Annie Frey Show when we return. Looking forward to having a conversation with her about what that business is about and about some economic news that came out today regarding inflation. Things looking up. You might say they're looking down, so to speak. Carol will break that down for us on the Annie Frey Show when we return. Don't go away.
Sleight of hand and twist of fate on a bed.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
With or without you. With or without you.
So Michael's Flooring Outlet has all of the brands that you've been looking for. They also have great ways for you to invest the right amount, not in a penny more, in securing this beautiful flooring that's going to really, really give your house the renovation look that you've been desiring. They walk you through the whole process. I think one of the main benefits of shopping at a place like Michael's Flooring Outlet, after you talk about the value and quality that you have to sacrifice nothing in order to achieve, is their staff there. These are people who sell flooring. You can buy flooring from a lot of different places that do a lot of different things. But when you go to Michael's Flooring Outlet, they've put their family business, their family enterprise into the idea of knowing flooring, talking to people exactly like you, find the product for the right price so that you can have a fully satisfied experience when you work with Michael's Flooring Outlet. And then you spread the word to other people because you like shopping local and you like getting great deals for quality products. You work hard for your money. You want to make sure it stretches far and wide, but not sacrificing quality in the process. That's why you shop at Michael's Flooring Outlet. You can find them online at igotfloor.com.
Attention taxpayers. If you or your business owe the IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, the IRS has green-lighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Help USA to see if you qualify and receive your free tax assessment by dialing 800-210-1005. If you or your business owe back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-210-1005. 800-210-1005. That's 800-210-1005.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands to treat ED at up to 95% off. That's right, the same active ingredient as the brand name for 95% less. It's the same ED medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
I was having a lot of sinus infections. My sinuses were clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure, it's just not fun, always walking around with a headache.
Now, her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of St. Louis Sinus Centers called balloon sinuplasty.
I really did not know what it was like to feel like you're really breathing and not being so clogged up. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would definitely recommend it for someone else.
Do you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, congestion? Find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Set an appointment today with St. Louis Sinus Centers. Call 314-332-2885. 314-332-2885. That's 314-332-2885.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
97.1 FM Talk. You're here because ideas change the world. St. Louis is home for conservative talk. This is 97.1 FM Talk.
Everybody gets high sometimes, you know.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
No, that's not what I hear, and I live in the real world. I'm here on the Hill today in Washington talking to everybody I can about the problems I've got in just getting working capital for small businesses. We have a crisis emerging. These rapid rate hikes that have occurred, unprecedented speed of these hikes, have put my small businesses, and I'm talking about companies with 5 to 500 employees, which represent over 60% of our economy. You know, if you're in the S&P 500, you have no trouble financing your business. You can't say that about small business anymore.
Now, Kevin O'Leary there speaking about a crisis that's coming regarding small business. And we hear all of these statistics about the economy. I'm not an economic expert. I am working my tail off to try to provide for my 4 kiddos on a regular basis. I go to the gas pump. I understand inflation is up. I hear today that inflation is down a little bit, but not as much as expected. What does it all mean for someone like me? You kind of hear some of these words, you hear them consistently, it makes you scratch your head, and then you need to go to the experts to find out the details. That's why we welcome Carol Roth onto the show today. I have a former investment banker listed as her title, but she refers to herself as a recovering investment banker, and she's an author, and we're grateful to have her on the show with us. Carol, thanks for being here today.
Annie, so great to be with you. And I have to say, being from Chicago, so delighted to talk economics with you. We should probably stay away from sports.
Yeah, we should. Absolutely. And I live across the river in Illinois, so I am a unsatisfied Illinois taxpayer myself.
Fantastic.
I want to ask you about your book, You Will Own Nothing. It's coming out, I think, next week. And I'm just going to throw some words out there, as I said, as a complete and total ignoramus when it comes to the economy. I'm just trying to live my life here. I'm going to throw some words out that average folks like me see, and we get a little nervous, and I'm hoping that you can kind of put them together for us. I see the World Economic Forum here. I see the phrase de-dollarization, and I the one global dollar type of economy that we're headed towards. Carol, can you put these things together in the simplest terms that even I can understand?
I will certainly do my best. I'll try to Sesame Street it for you.
Thank you.
So
Perfect.
The World Economic Forum is a group that is basically littered with the business and political elite. You may have heard of, once or twice a year, people going to a place called Davos in Switzerland to talk about heady ideas, and it's a very fancy party. Unfortunately, they did not invite you and I guess we don't make that elite cutoff. But they put out a lot of ideas that get carried back into the business sphere and into the political sphere because of the people who are connected. And one thing they did a couple years ago is they put out a video with their top 8 predictions for the world for 2030. And their very first one was, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Ooh. And as someone who's spent more than a quarter of a century trying to help people increase their wealth and have wealth creation opportunities, I went, that's really weird because you've got these well-connected people who are now predicting the end of private property. I know that when you own things, that's your path to wealth. You have things that you own, assets that have the opportunity to retain value or appreciate in value, and that gets you wealthy. So if they're saying that you're not going to own nothing, and trying to get you to buy into it as if it's something good for you. I thought that was worth exploring. So that's sort of the first piece.
You know, we've seen some dabbling with politicians who've thrown their hat in the ring to be the president of the United States before with some of those same concepts. It feels very socialistic to me. And in my lifetime, I'm 39 years old. I haven't been paying attention for decades and decades, but I'm very in tune right now trying to raise a family. The idea that socialism is one of those words that even in America, it's kind of worn as a badge of honor. People are happy to call themselves democratic socialists and try to seek the highest office in the land. Do these merge ideas, what you're talking about with the World Economic Forum and what we've seen from people who actually are in positions of power in our American government?
Absolutely, in multiple ways. First of all, it is, you hit the nail on the head, it's a very Marxist concept to not have ownership. But if you go back in history, all the people who, not through their own accord, but through mandate, have not owned things, they have not been particularly free, they have not been particularly happy, and in many cases, they've lost their lives. And what's interesting, when you see these politicians who are pushing these ideas about don't own anything, they're always the ones who have multiple houses and lots of ownership. You don't see the elite giving up their ownership. And so that's kind of part of the underpinning here, which goes to your second question about de-dollarization, is that we have a lot of stakes that are changing in the world. The fact that the U.S. has been at the center of the financial universe for about 80 years makes us who have been part of it kind of feel like we're invincible. We don't know anything different. But before we were in that position, it was the British, and before the British, it was the Dutch. And this is something that changes on a regular basis, usually because the powers that be are very derelict in their duties and run up a lot of debt and don't manage the currency for stability, all the things that we're seeing now. And because the people at the Federal Reserve, our central bank, and the government really have done some things with the U.S. currency, not holding it stable for the global economy, which when everything is priced in dollars means that other countries are having to pay more for commodities like oil and food that are priced in dollars, and that threatens their own national and economic security. You have a lot of issues, and then you have the Biden administration that weaponized the dollar against Russia after their invasion of Ukraine and said you can't have access to your reserves. So, it's hard to be the world's reserve currency when you use it as a weapon, which means other countries around the world, big, powerful ones, including a bloc called the BRICS, which is an acronym for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are looking to find ways to move away from the dollar. And in doing so, it has real repercussions for us here in America. And all of these big themes, as well as, Wall Street trying to compete with you for a house and big tech trying to rent your life back to you as a subscription service, all tie back to this big umbrella idea of you will own nothing.
We're speaking with Carol Roth. She's the author of a book that is out right now for pre-order. Go check it out on Amazon. We're going to talk a little more about Prime Day in a little bit. So while you're Prime Day shopping, check out You Will Own Nothing by Carol Roth. I want to ask you about the idea of a central bank and this global economy focus. I can see how there are a lot of people, a lot of countries globally who would benefit from this type of organization. But it seems to me like this kind of organization does not get to exist if America isn't willing to get knocked down a few notches.
It's a really great insight, Annie, and it's one of the things when I asked my followers on Twitter, what's the biggest concern that you have around this shift in the global financial order, a number of people came back and said that it's intentional, that we keep hearing this idea of equity instead of equality, that what we don't have, it's not that we have equal opportunities, we're trying to drive equal outcomes. And when you are the world's leading superpower, the only way you get equity in the world is to knock us down a few pegs. And interestingly enough, as we talk about these top 8 predictions from the World Economic Forum, one of their other predictions is that the U.S. will no longer be the world's sole superpower. So they're also projecting that right out in the open. And, it's hard to say, how much of it is an intentional buy-in versus just short-term thinking in government, which happens, just based on basic human nature. They want to keep their power. They want to keep their wealth. They want to do the things that are going to do that, and ultimately it leads to that outcome. There's probably a range of motivations, but at the end of the day, the motivation doesn't matter as much as the outcome, and we are moving towards a scenario where Americans have fewer wealth creation opportunities and a lot more barriers. And given what we have lived through, I think that this is going to be shocking to people. And potentially, if it accelerates and happens on a very quick timeline, which we never really know the exact duration where this is going to play out, I think there are going to be a lot of people who are unprepared, which is why we have to get them this information and we have to give them that roadmap to fight back.
Well, Carol Roth has written the book, You Will Own Nothing, available for pre-order right now on Amazon. I'd encourage you to check it out. I'm thinking about all of what you're saying and kind of the idea of the intentionality of bringing America down a few notches and using that as an opportunity to lift some other countries up potentially. There's always, at least politically in the conversation, the understanding of an us and them. And when we see people talking about populism as a mentality, there's an us and them, and it's not so much politically party-based, but it's the powerful versus the powerless, or the structure that needs to stay in place for the status quo to be maintained. Socialism certainly, when I hear the Bernie Sanders of the world talking about how he wants to, activate for the little guy and be in there and represent the people who have so little, it's amazing how much he has made himself when he has been advocating for that little guy. At the end of the day, it always seems like there always will be an us and them. And in that system that exists, maybe the one that the socialists or the people who dabble in socialism, if you can even dabble, it's kind of like an all in or nothing for me, that the idea is that whoever the elite is currently, you take the people who are afraid and angry at that person and say, I'm going to fight for you in this instance. But it usually ends up in the person who's being the fighter being the new them. So the us and them system still exists. And the people who are the little guy always remain the little guy. In this scenario where we have a centralized bank or a global currency and the idea that you will own nothing and be happy about it, does the us and them equation get rebalanced at all?
No, I think it gets exacerbated. I think there's a huge barbelling of the population, and we've seen this throughout history, where the elite end up with more money, and we've seen that happen, in an accelerated manner over the past few years with some of the policies that came out of COVID and some of the Biden policies, and that, there's very little left for everybody else. And I think that's really part of the thesis here, that when you have a changing global order, regardless of whether it's intentional or there's, some push towards that if you are part of the people who see that happening, you are the wealthy, the well-connected, those political and business elite, and you see this happening, are you just going to hope that it works out for you, or are you going to jockey to make sure that you control every finite resource possible, and in the process, leave everybody with nothing? And I think that's really what happens here. It's not like the intention is that they're like, I want to take away your freedom and I want to make sure you have nothing. It's, I need to make sure I protect mine and my cronies. And if, those things are sacrificed in the process, so be it. And oh, by the way, if you buy into it, if you believe that it's great to rent your house instead of owning it, the biggest asset across households that drive wealth, if you think that it's super convenient to rent it and I can rent you the American dream and my cronies can make that money instead and you buy in, then it is so much easier for me to affect that change. And then it buys them time till people eventually figure that out. And given the period that we lived through, where we did see, a much more democratized approach to wealth and the opportunity for lots of people to participate in the American dream, and the fact that there's nobody there to step into that role, I think is really scary. You know, when the U.S. took over from Britain as the center of the financial universe, you had the United States standing there ready to be that bastion of opportunity. The folks who are waiting in the wing for, you know, hey, we want to come in here and we want to be, you know, part of the superpowers, you know, they're very tyrannical and dictatorial and, you know, of the communist, socialist, you know, whatever is central planning mindset. So that opportunity for us here in America, for our children and grandchildren, for everyone around the globe really is at stake here. And it's why people need to understand this and, you know, do what we can to at least extend the timeline if we can't turn things around.
Carol, the book is You Will Own Nothing. Carol Roth, the author of that. Last quick question for you. This seems I've looked over it and I'm looking forward to try. I saw that the Audible book should be out the same time. I'm an audiobook person myself. But is there a timeline on how dire is what you lay out in You Will Own Nothing for American people to understand that this is happening rapidly or over the course of time?
Well, we're certainly seeing it happen already. We're already seeing countries get rid of their dollar reserve currencies, and we're seeing the signposts. We're seeing inflation where we haven't seen it before. The thing that we never know in finance is duration. You know, you could know that a stock is going down, but if you bet on that and it goes way up before it goes down, then you end up losing a lot of money. So duration is really impossible to predict because there are so many factors that could go into changing it. So this could happen in 12 months. It could happen in 12 years. It could happen in 50 years. You know, it's much easier to look back historically and go, oh, that happened over a 100-year period than when you're right in the middle of it. But, you know, is anything else that has sort of a probability but a really bad potential outcome, you know, like your house burning down, what do? You make an escape plan and you get insurance. And that's really the key here is that you don't know that, you know, your house is going to burn down, but you still plan for it. And I think that's the thing here. I wish I had that crystal ball that I could tell you exactly when it was going to happen. But if I did, Annie, I'd be on a yacht in the Mediterranean right now and not having this wonderful conversation.
Yeah, a yacht that hopefully you don't have to rent. Carol Roth, thank you so much for being with us today. We're grateful for your time, and I'm looking forward to this book coming out next week.
Such a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Yep, you as well. Carol Roth is the author of You Will Own Nothing, Your War with a New Financial World Order and How to Fight Back. Great to have that conversation with her. I mean, going through the packet that I have here and the different things that they talk about, of course, the de-dollarization, but also things like the college investment that they're making and making it so that you can get into college for super cheap and you know all these loans that you don't end up having to pay back. Talking about social credit, ESG, renting the American dream, the college wealth transfer. That's the name of the chapter. Man, it's all there and it's in the book. You Will Own Nothing. Go check it out. Let's take a quick break. Wiggins American Studio here on the Annie Frey Show. When we come back, are there some untouchable people in Hollywood because they have maybe just even a little bit said something that might be something you agree with or I agree with on the political scale? We'll see what Ryan Wiggins has to report when we come back.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
The Retirement Advisory Group will show you how much income you're going to have in retirement and also how to make your money last and how long it will last. Basically, you get a picture. You get to uncover the boogeyman that you have been fearing in the closet, that you've done everything you can, but what if it's not enough? Or what is retirement really going to look like? Get those numbers on paper and understand exactly where you're headed. And then when you work with Retirement Advisory Group, you sit down and have a conversation with Thomas Helbig or Bob Kershaw and Tammy Kershaw. You start to learn how you can use their tips and tricks to make it even better. The Retirement Advisor Group has been an amazing sponsor of this show and of this station for a long time. And there are countless 97.1 listeners and Annie Frey Show listeners who have done exactly that. They've called 314-993-9494, and they've sat down and listened to what they have to say. And then it's up to you, of course, you're smart enough, to listen to how they are going to help you protect your retirement and make the call yourself. But when you reach out to them at 314-993-9494, mention the Annie Frey Show, you're going to get the opportunity to sit down and have that free discussion with them to get your retirement on track and to have that worry-free expectation. Find them online at retirementkey.com.
Did you know the IRS is a super creditor? Hi, I'm Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. The IRS is the only creditor that can create a bill for you without your permission, then drop the hammer and aggressively collect it by wiping out your bank account, seizing your assets, and levying your wages. No other creditor can do that, and this can all happen without a court approval. If you owe back taxes, you need to be prepared to face the super creditor. Don't just sit back and take it. Fight back. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, we know how to use the laws to your advantage and go toe-to-toe with the IRS. Our office is located right here in St. Louis. Contact the Lance Drury Law Firm today for a free consultation with me, or visit us at lancedrurylaw.com or call 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120 to get started.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
Over 90,000 satisfied customers since 1929. Frederick Roofing, 314-645-2000.
Get ready for the Diamonds Direct Midsummer Savings Event. Starting Friday, you can take an extra 20% off virtually everything. Rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, and more. You get Diamonds Direct's already unbeatable price, plus an extra 20% off. Thousands of engagement mountings, fashion styles, and wedding bands included. Plus, acclaimed jewelry designers will be in store with an expanded selection. All the latest styles and trends, all on sale. You can't miss this. Diamonds Direct's sizzling summer store-wide sale. Starting Friday. Get details at diamondsdirect.com.
Wiggins America coming up in just a minute here, then Deroy Murdock just after 1 o'clock, followed by a roundtable discussion with Corey Malone of Air Comfort Service and Nikki Bachman of the Diamond Shop about the job market. You want to stick around for that. Right now it's 12:50. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Critical thinking in critical times. This is St. Louis's home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk. Everyone is welcome. This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Frey Show.
A seven-nation army couldn't hold me back.
It's that time of the show, Wiggins America.
Wiggins!
Oh! Wiggins!
Excellent job by our music producer today for putting that song in. A song written by none other than Jack White.
The Oak Ridge Boys?
No, not of the Oak Ridge Boys. That was the Oak Ridge. That was the Oak Ridge Boys.
But what if he was?
Jack White was not, as far as I know, ever a member of the Oak Ridge Boys. He did write that song, however. He is in the news right now for taking aim at celebrities such as Mark Wahlberg and Mel Gibson for normalizing Donald Trump by simply...
He was the president of the United States.
Right, yeah. I don't know if people remember this. He was the president of the United States.
There's no normalizing a guy who served as the president of the United States. He's part of American history.
Yeah. He's up in the classrooms. I assume, I haven't been in a classroom and seen this, but when I was in school, you used to have the pictures of the presidents in your history room.
That one has like a black mustache.
It might.
On with Sharpie.
It depends on the school. I bet some of them do.
It's upside down.
When I was substitute, this is just anecdotal, but when I was substitute teaching, there were certain teachers that had the signs up that had him on there, and other ones didn't. They just left the older ones up.
They didn't put him up because it would have been during his administration.
It was during and after, and they just didn't put the new ones up.
Oh my gosh, of course. Well, there's something we refer to as Trump derangement syndrome. People just cannot stand the thought or name of that man. But Jack White's one of them. He is taking aim at these people for normalizing Donald Trump by meeting him at public events or shaking his hand or whatever. The two actors, along with Joe Rogan and Guy Fieri, were photographed interacting with Trump at the UFC 290 event in Las Vegas.
Interacting?
I know.
What do you mean?
Well, I think Trump may have turned to one of them and said hello.
What?
And then I think in the case of Guy Fieri,
Did he
may
say
have
hello
actually
in Russian?
I don't know. I mean, he very well could have. I would assume that he did.
Obviously.
But he said something to Guy Fieri, and Guy Fieri actually talked back to him.
It responded?
He did.
Unbelievable.
Did he say F you?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Did
unless
he
it was
say
Russian.
F you in Russian?
Yeah, he could have been because I couldn't read that lip. But those
They exchanged words?
They spoke and it was amicable.
In a public place?
Yes. People photographed it. And that is unacceptable. You can't normalize somebody who was a president of the United States. Jack White of the White Stripes and the Raconteurs, by the way, says, quote, anybody who normalizes or treats this disgusting fascist, racist con man, disgusting piece of blank Trump with any level of respect is also disgusting in my book. He goes on, quote, that's you, Joe Rogan.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I know more about Mark Wahlberg and, unfortunately, Guy Fieri than I do Jack White.
That's you, Mel Gibson. That's you, Mark Wahlberg. You, Guy Fieri. This is a statement from me, not a discussion/debate.
I'm going to ask you a very non-pointed question because I don't really know the answer to this. Was anybody waiting to hear what Jack White thought about this?
No.
I mean,
I can say that confidently because I am a Jack White fan. I really think the White Stripes in particular, and the Raconteurs to some extent, are...
Everybody's impressed that you know the Jack White. If you could see the smug look on his face when he's like, wink, wink, Raconteurs, I know this. Do you know this? No, I don't know who Jack White is.
The first time he mentioned
it,
he paused.
And he shook his shoulders like, hey, look what I know.
Well, it's because they do have some hits that you may not know that's Jack White.
I literally don't know who Jack White is.
So Jack White, Seven Nation Army is probably their most famous song.
By the Oak Ridge Boys.
By the Oak Ridge Boys.
That's what I know.
that we just came in with. And at basically every college event, they sing the bass line of that song. But the White Stripes are awesome. I love the White Stripes. And I still was like, really, Jack White? Okay. Super cool that you think it's so wrong to even say hello to the man.
Generalize for me in 10 seconds people who listen to the White Stripes.
Me. And people right around my age.
I might assume that means something differently than you do.
Let's see. If you listen to popular music in the 2000s.
Pop?
No, not pop.
That would be popular music.
They are popular. They're very traditional rock.
Hush, the Oak Ridge Boys are singing.
Fine, take it away.
Pull it up a little bit here. Let's feel a little bit.
It's a good song.
You're darn right it's a good song. I wonder what they think about Donald Trump.
That's a good question.
I'm going to Google it. Oh, Deroy Murdock in a roundtable discussion with some of my friends Corey Malone and Nikki Bachman when we come back.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-777-1979. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-777-1979. 1979. 800-777-1979 or biglou.com.
What a neat environment and building and everything about the restaurant at Andrea's in Fairview Heights, O'Fallon, Illinois is just fantastic. If you've never been there, experience it for yourself. The food is, of course, the main attraction, and I talk about their steak sauce all the time. But what I don't mention a lot is that little industry secret. They get cuts of meat at Andrea's that you can't just go buy yourself. So treat yourself at some point to an Andrea's steak in Andrea's Steakhouse in Fairview Heights, O'Fallon, Illinois. You will not regret it. It's fantastic. Your next event or party or birthday, whatever, you should go there. But if you can't, and if you can't make it there soon, get their sauce. Andrea's sauce is the great equalizer. That's why it's sold all over the world and is so popular. It is bringing out the natural taste of that meat in a way that no other sauce does. Get Andrea's steak sauce at andreas.com, or you can pick it up in several stores in this area, including Dierberg's and Schnucks. But again, andreas.com.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
NATO assurances for Ukraine, but no invitation for membership. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. The G7 nations taking part in the NATO summit issuing a joint declaration of support of Ukraine. President Biden says he's confident Ukraine will one day become a NATO ally.
The long-term commitments we're making are backed up by the notion that in the meantime, we're going to provide security to Ukraine for its needs and against any aggression that may occur.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says the results of the summit are good, but an invitation for membership would be ideal.
And I'm grateful to all leaders in NATO countries for very practical and unprecedented support.
NATO members said Ukraine's admission to the alliance would likely come after its conflict with Russia ends. Inflation has reached its lowest point in more than 2 years, 3% in June compared with 12 months earlier. Experts say it's a sign the Federal Reserve's interest rate hikes have steadily slowed price increases across the economy. The inflation figure the government reported today was down sharply from a 4% annual rate in May, though still above the Fed's 2% target rate. A contentious hearing on Capitol Hill today with House Republicans accusing the FBI of bias for its investigations into former President Trump during his time in the White House and disregarding probes into President Biden and his family.
Today's FBI leaders reflect the best of our organization, an organization that is made up of 38,000 men and women who are patriots, professionals, and dedicated public servants. And that is the real FBI.
FBI Director Christopher Wray. Democrats say the GOP-led hearings are designed to protect former President Trump and help his current campaign. A rally on Wall Street today following today's inflation data. The 3 major indexes all trending higher. America's listening to Fox News.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Hosting a barbecue is a breeze, but managing my frequent heartburn, that was a lot more work. I would chew up to 10 antacids in one day. Now I take just one Prilosec OTC, and my heartburn is blocked for a full 24 hours. Just one Prilosec OTC a day gives me one-and-done heartburn relief. So I can go back for seconds on my world-famous burgers.
Prilosec OTC. One pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn.
It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
We're going to be watching for some rumblings going on later on this afternoon, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m., the window of opportunity for 1 to 2 rounds of strong, possibly severe thunderstorms. 92 for the high, but once the storms move in, we'll cool back into the 70s. Simply rain, cooled air. Only a couple of spotty storms on Thursday. Back to strong to severe thunderstorms late Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
STS-armory.com. Have you been looking to make a firearm purchase, or maybe you're not even 100% sure what it is that you are looking to get, but you know that you want to go down the process of getting your FOID card, or maybe working to get to the point where you are able to conceal and carry? STS Armory is there for you through that entire process. In Illinois, it's not a simple process to own and operate a firearm. It's just not. Illinois has made it that way. You want to make sure that you're in compliance with the law. And when you go to STS Armory, they'll help you with your FOID card. I've had people who have gone into STS Armory because they've had problems with their FOID card, or the renewal of their CCL, or when they switched from having a FOID card and a CCL separately into one, it just gets complicated. There's a backlog. STS Armory will help you with this. And I want you to know that they are there to guide you through all of your purchases, but also just the education that comes along with being a Second Amendment supporter and, I guess, user. When you talk to them about classes, you can ask them about their CCL classes. They have ladies-only classes as well. I highly encourage you to check that out if you're a female, if you're looking for something for your wife so she can protect herself. STS Armory understands all of these circumstances and respects them and treats them as such. You can find them in Pontoon Beach, online at sts-armory.com.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
This planet is so incredibly beautiful that I can't get enough of it. I did 950 miles on the Pacific Crest Trail, and Good Feet was with me all the way. Your passion's important, but if your body aches and if your heel feels like you've got a nail stuck in it and won't come out, trust me, it's going to wear you down. The Good Feet store knew what they were talking about and took the time to really dial in what I needed. I hiked 84 miles in the Himalaya, and to do it pain-free. You think I'm not grateful for Good Feet?
Get ready for your summer adventures. Come to the Good Feet store today. Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations, on Olive west of I-270 in the Plaza with Subway, or in Shiloh, Illinois across from Deerbergs.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlewis.com. You deserve comfort in your life. Come in for your free test walk today.
AMCO presents Bet You Didn't Know.
Bet you didn't know that your car's transmission is made up of 800 pieces. Also, bet you didn't know that AMCO's fixed over 40 million transmissions, and that AMCO offers a nationwide warranty.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
That's AMCO, AA, MCO.
If you're trying to sell your home, there's only one group of agents in town I trust, Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. My friends Mark and Neil have the best system, options, and strategies to connect you to the best qualified buyers, getting your home sold fast and for top dollar. Check out thegelmanteam.com.
Shows that make a difference. Mark Cox, Brian Kilmeade, Annie Frey, Mark Reardon and Dana Lash, Heidi Harris, Wiggins America. Where St. Louis comes to talk. 97.1 FM Talk.
Celebrate the month of the 4th with Zero Res and get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $129 and a 4th room free. Also save 20% off whole home air duct cleaning. Call right now. Ask for the Mark Reardon special. 314-474-2020 or book online. ZeroResSTL.com.
This hour of the Annie Frey Show is brought to you by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart. I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
I'm sitting here with my father. I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father. Sounds like a shakedown, doesn't it, Director?
I'm not going to get into commenting on that.
You seem deeply uncurious about it, don't you? Almost suspiciously uncurious. Are you protecting the Bidens?
Absolutely not. The FBI
well,
does not and has no interest in
you won't answer the question about whether or not that's a shakedown, and everybody knows why you won't answer it. Because to the millions of people who will see this, they know it is. And your inability to acknowledge that is deeply revealing about you.
Congressman Gates wants to know if Director Wray, who was there for that hearing today in front of the House committee, if the FBI is protecting the Bidens. Who would look at what's going on right now in our country and think that the Bidens are being protected? What reality are they living in? Let's talk to Deroy Murdock about it. See what he thinks about it. Nationally syndicated columnist and Fox News contributor. Deroy, can you believe that Congressman Gates thinks that the Bidens are being protected?
How could he say such a thing? How absurd! What a conspiracy theory that is. Annie, it's astonishing. It's great to be with you, but I got to tell you, every week it just gets a little more dark, a little more twisted. And we are not living in a country with equal justice under law, as is chiseled in the in marble above the entrance to the Supreme Court. It looks like the FBI is the federal bureau for protecting the Bidens, essentially. And the comments by Christopher Frey don't help minimize that impression in my mind at all.
What does it mean to the American people if you can see with two eyes and hear with two ears how much evidence is surrounding a reasonable concern that an American voter and taxpayer would have about what's going on with the Bidens after just freshly coming off of a Trump presidency that followed a Trump candidacy where they literally paid for and made stuff up to try to keep him out of power? How do the American people reconcile that reality?
Well, it's very tough to reconcile. It's in fact kind of painful to consider. And as you say, they spent 3 years hounding Donald J. Trump over crimes that did not exist. They literally fabricated, like Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, so-called evidence against Trump being a Russian agent and controlled by the Kremlin and doing all this collusion with Russia, which never happened, didn't occur, and multiple investigations came to, I think 5 different investigations came to the conclusion there was no Russian collusion. It didn't take place. This was a total fantasy, a complete hoax, like watching Bugs Bunny or Daffy Duck. And yet here we've got evidence on the other side with Hunter Biden. You've got the laptop, you've got WhatsApp messages, you've got voicemails, you've got photographs, and they indicate at a very least a reasonable suspicion that there is some kind of influence peddling, possibly bribery, including foreign bribery, going on involving Hunter Biden and possibly even Joe Biden, his father, and the President of the United States of America. And the response from the FBI seems to be like, oh, nothing here, nothing to look at. We're not interested. Yawn. And it makes it, every day it goes by, it feels like we're living in some sort of a third world authoritarian so-called banana republic. It's very disturbing, very troubling, and not in any way encouraging at all.
Fox News contributor and nationally syndicated columnist Deroy Murdock joining us now. I am very dismayed at the way that the media plays such an important central role in this two-tier reality system that we live in right now. They were very quick to disparage everything about Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, like the negative things about Donald Trump that really didn't jive with all the other Republicans that went before them, he never really denied it. He never said he lived this perfect, golden retriever, I don't know where I'm coming from in the country, John Deere in the wheat field behind you life that Republicans tend to live. He was Donald Trump. He plated everything in gold. He had women on his arms. This is who he was. He was a mogul. If you compare that to what Joe Biden has been, Uncle Joe, Grandpa Joe, he's the guy who you can relate to. Everyone has someone in their family who's like him. He kind of gets away with a little bit more from the mouth than a lot of other people do. You compare that narrative that they work so deeply to keep up now, it's getting harder and harder. The media will not report on what is true. They report on what they want you to feel and believe. And it's really, to me, at the crux of the problem facing American voters today.
Well, I think you're right about that. I mean, look, the reason Joe Biden is in the White House is because they were able to bamboozle the American public, or at least enough votes to get to be counted to get him into the White House, based on the idea that this guy's a nice man, he's a sweet guy. I call him Grandpa Lunch Bucket, you call him Uncle Joe, and it's a little fast with his mouth here and there, but he's really a warm, toasty fella. And now we're learning that he screams and yells at his staff. He yells profanities at them. This is the nice guy who couldn't be bothered to spend an hour walking around East Palestine, Ohio, after that awful train crash and chemical spill and giant chemical fire. There's the guy who will not acknowledge his seventh grandchild, fathered by his son, the notorious Hunter Biden. There's the guy who was ministered over the complete disaster of a withdrawal from Afghanistan and couldn't come out and say, we made a lot of mistakes and we wish we'd done it differently. So the whole thing was pristine and couldn't be better, and on and on. So this turns out not to be a nice guy at all. He's really kind of he seems to be a miserable, crabby old man. And not this sweethearted Burl Ives type grandpa-like character who we were expected to bring America back to normal. Normalcy in America now, it means you've got cocaine in the White House. I mean, it's astonishing. So we really were sold a bill of goods in 2020. I hope the American people are well aware of that and are prepared to make a massive correction and send this man back to Delaware. We can have a good time hanging out on the beach and in the basement with his grandkids.
Yeah, massive correction. That's a really great way to put it. Deroy Murdock with us right now. The family business, the Donald Trump experience for the American people in his administration was everybody who was attached to Donald Trump was in the line of fire potentially. And the family business was something that was often drawn to, and people used family members as a way to try to dunk on Donald Trump to prove a point that was predetermined before he ever came into office. Now you are listing out some of the family business surrounding Joe Biden. It's not as if there's this very wholesome, super relatable to flyover country. I'm sitting here in St. Louis, Missouri right now, lifestyle that exists in the White House with the Biden family. They have a lot of their own baggage. And I think a lot of people are making the case that it does matter to the American people, the family business that the Bidens have maintained.
Well, it matters in this respect. Look, I mean, almost every family has got members who get into trouble or have problems or difficulties, what have you. But when you have people in his family over and over and over break the law repeatedly, and there are no consequences, they don't go to prison, they get wrist massages. People say slap on the wrist. I wish they got slapped on the wrist. They get wrist massages. I did a piece which is at the Daily Caller and also Daily Signal. Biden's do the crime but not the time. This is based on an article in the New York Post written by a friend of mine named John Levine, and he got into some details that were brand new to me. I knew about Hunter Biden and his shenanigans and Jim Biden and his apparent influence peddling, but I had no idea that the first daughter, Ashley Biden, was busted for marijuana possession in 1999, arrest, no conviction. She's involved in sort of some kind of a big bar fight in Chicago. Apparently obstructed a cop and made intimidating statements. Charges dropped. Then you've got first brother Frank. He was a passenger in a car and drunk driving crash in 1999. He was found, found partially liable for the death of a man by the name of Michael Albano, who was hit and killed. Frank Biden was a passenger, but he was still thought to be somewhat responsible for what happened. Judge said he had to pay the family $550,000 in damages. That went all the way up to $880,000 in interest. According to the Daily Mail, none of that money ever was paid. The surviving daughters never got paid for this. Then you've got Carolyn Biden, who's the first niece. She was involved in a violent incident with an NYPD cop who she punched at her Tribeca apartment in 2013. No prison time. She was told to do anger management. She had $110,000 run up on a stolen credit card. That turned into basically she was allowed to replead it to petty larceny, avoided prison. So over and over and over again, you've got this crime family engaged in just this endless rap sheet. As I wrote this piece, I was staggered at how much criminality these guys engage in, including driving into a tree, running over and killing somebody on Pacific Coast Highway in California, I think it was, and no jail time. It's always, do some anger management. Probation. We'll drop the charges over and over and over. And if that happened to your sister or my sister or any of our relatives, you know damn well they'd be in handcuffs, they'd be behind bars, they'd be doing time. But if you're Biden, you do the crime, you don't do the time, you never say you're sorry. And this is an astonishingly criminal family facing zero consequences for their actions, and that's why it matters not just the Biden family, but the whole country, because we can't live in a country where some people go to jail for their actions and other people just skate away as if they were in the escapades.
Deroy, I don't know how much of the hearing with FBI Director Christopher Wray you were able to take in today, but do you think that this House that has a slim but very important majority is going to be able to help us show the American people what the massive correction is that is needed? Because it's not just Joe Biden needs out and a new guy or new woman needs to be in. It seems as though there's a lot of bureaucratic weeding that needs to take place.
Weeding, yeah, I'd say more like chopping trees down. Full-blown forestry is what we need. Look, one of the reasons that I like the idea of a second Trump presidency is not just returning to low taxes, less regulation, not ending this endless climate religion, et cetera. But having been through this experience, he knows very well that the power of the deep state, and he has the toughness and the courage to fire these people who need to be fired, prosecute the ones who need to be prosecuted, who broke the law, committed crimes. And a lot of these are lawyers at the FBI. If these people broke the law, they need to be disbarred. They need to have their law licenses dropped into shredders. They need to be told to leave the industry of the law and go find something else to do with their lives. And if they broke the law, they need to go to prison, period. No more Mr. Nice Guy, no more turning the other cheek, no more praying for these people. You've got full-blown criminals being paid for by us taxpayers, and at a bare minimum, the ones who broke the law need to be removed from the bureaucracy. If their lawyers disbarred, law licenses shredded, and if they broke the law, they need to go to prison and do serious prison time, PRISON, prison time for their crimes against the American people.
Deroy Murdock, we appreciate you. We're going to share that article that you put out in the Daily Caller. I've got it here, and it's called Biden's Do the Crime But Not the Time. And it's a very good step-by-step process of, man, it's good to be a Biden in this country. At least it is right now. Maybe something like that will change. Appreciate you, Deroy. Thanks for being here.
You bet, Andy. Thanks very much.
Yep,
Bye-bye.
have a good week. He's a nationally syndicated columnist like in the Daily Caller and also with Fox News contributor. We love having him on and talking to him about these issues each week. Let's take a quick break. I'm excited about the next segment here. We are going to have a roundtable discussion. I have had many conversations with my friend Corey Malone at Air Comfort Service and Nikki Bachman at the Diamond Shop and Tom and Mona at the Diamond Shop, trying to get people in, trying to get people who are looking for a job, looking to make an honest wage, looking to have a place to work that they really love. And it seems like it's been difficult. So we're going to have that roundtable discussion in here. If you have experiences that are similar to what they're talking about or questions for them, I'd love to have them. We will field some of those off of the Annie Frey YouTube live chat and see what y'all have to say about it. Stick around. Roundtable. We come back.
I'm not really sure how it goes.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
When I wore a younger man's clothes. La, 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 la.
Stewart's American Mortgage is where you get the bagel loan. It's the only place you get the bagel loan. 314-324-4440. Call or text my friend Stewie at 314-324-4440. Here's the picture. This is what I want you to think about. You're buying your home. You know who you are. You're looking to get a mortgage. You are assessing all of the different things that go into making that purchase. What do we want to offer? What do we want to ask for? This, that, and the other thing. And then you get through the process. Maybe an offer is accepted and it comes to the closing costs. And it's like, oh, man, that kind of hits hard. Don't have the closing costs. That's what happens when you use a bagel loan with Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage. He can walk you through all of the ins and outs of how it actually makes it so that you don't have to pay them. He doesn't roll them into the loan. They don't pop up 10, 15, 30 years down the road. I have refinanced with the bagel loan 2 times. No closing costs. Didn't cost me anything to do that. And those 2 times I was able to secure a lower rate. If you're looking to get the best rate that is out there, if you're looking to close in 10 days, that's incredible. That makes you a competitive buyer. And you don't want to spend those extra thousands of dollars in closing costs that you're going to have to elsewhere. You need Stewie. It's that simple. Get the bagel loan by calling or texting 314-324-4440. You can Google the bagel loan to learn more as well. Stewart's American Mortgage, NMLS number 226715.
Hey, Bernie Federico here. Over the years, you've heard me talk about lakeside renovation and design. My friends Matt and Dan have been in the business for over 25 years and have done everything on my home, from James Hardy siding, Infinity from Marvin Windows, and even a couple of room additions. These guys are great, and you can trust them with your home. Check out their website to see for yourself all the beautiful work they've done. You can find them online at lakesidерenovationanddesign.com. Be sure to ask about their unbelievable financing options. Lakeside Renovation and Design.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan, president of McKelvey Homes. Founded in 1898, McKelvey Homes is celebrating 125 years with our inventory home sale. Get $12,500 off of all our market homes. Move in quick, lock in your interest rate, and get all the popular features and colors selected by design professionals. And for every home sold, McKelvey Homes will donate $1,898 to Dravet Syndrome Foundation. Visit McKelveyHomes.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands to treat ED at up to 95% off. That's right, the same active ingredient as the brand name for 95% less. It's the same ED medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 54 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
There are a lot of smart business people out there making smart decisions by getting Rhino Shield. The latest one, the Central Illinois Care Services, they have decided to go with Rhino Shield on the outside of their building so they won't have to worry about maintenance from now on. The list is long. Joe's Tire out in Sullivan, Stonehill Wineries in Herman, they've all got Rhino Shield on their buildings. You can have it on your business or your house. Just call 877-25-RHINO. Let Darren come out and give you a free estimate as to what it would cost to get this great product on your home. 25-year transferable warranty, 100% waterproof, 8 to 10 times thicker than paint, and as a satisfied customer, 15 years in, I can tell you it looks as good as the day they put it on. You're going to love Rhino Shield. Call them right now. Tell them you heard about it on the Mark Cox Morning Show. Again, 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
St. Louis is home for conservative talk.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Why is Missouri versus Biden so important to free speech? Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey joins me at 5:07 Wednesday night to explain.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Used to keep it cool, used to be a fool, all about the bounce in my step. Watch it on the news, what you gonna do? I could hit refresh and forget.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Should I keep it light, stay out of the fight? No one's gonna listen to me. If I write a song, preaching what is wrong, will they let me sing on TV? Should I keep it light? Is that right?
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. I love it when we get to have friends in here. Corey Malone of Air Comfort Service, a wonderful sponsor of the show. Corey, welcome back.
Thank you.
You're not going to battle Nikki from the Diamond Shop and X's and O's, but you guys can fight out there when you leave.
No. I'll lose again. I'm not doing that.
Nikki, thank you for being in here with the Diamond Shop. It's great to have you here as well.
Thanks for having me.
So I wanted to talk to you both about, you guys both know what it's like to try to employ people. Yes. And to employ good people.
Yes.
And to have to retain good people.
Yes.
But I've talked to both of you and other clients that I have as well about the plight that exists right now in getting people in. And we started this conversation a little bit off air. Nikki, I'll ask this of you first. This idea of, you've got, let's say you have a position open. You guys, generally speaking, at the Diamond Shop right now are looking for good salespeople.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So you open a position for sales. And do people immediately apply to that? How does that work? What's the experience from the employer end trying to fill that position these days?
I mean, yes, we get a flood of people, but it's kind of like one of those things where did they fill out the form? Did they do the aptitude stuff? Are they actually do they have retail experience, that kind of stuff. And it just gets kind of hard to kind of shift through all that to kind of figure out, where the actual applicants lie.
Who you might want to pull in. Corey, my understanding is, and I don't know a ton about this, and I have a lot of questions, and I've had other people ask me questions, so just give us all the ins and outs that you can.
Sure.
That there are a lot of programs out there that require, if you're going to continue on unemployment, or if you're, trying to pursue a job, but maybe you're not as super motivated, but you do have to show the unemployment office that you're trying to get a job.
Yeah. What defines trying?
Well, that's what I want to know from you. Like, that's what I've heard. It's never really said in a complimentary way about the people who are using a system for their own benefit. What is taking place in your experience of you post a job, it's out there for people to get, and then kind of like to what Nikki says, you get a flood of applicants. How many of those people are actually pursuing filling that position that you have posted?
Well, it's funny because if we have an office position, we will have a flood and there'll be a ton of people, but you can, out of 100, 300 applications, there's maybe 10 that are qualified. And the qualifications are a little different because we'll take the initiative to invest in the people, if we can see something there. But the ghosting is unbelievable. I mean, just to try to get a hold of people, and the number of no-shows for interviews is amazing. But in the field, it is we run through the same thing. We get people that are saying that, hey, we really want to come, meet with you guys, and we've got a gentleman that's been doing this for about a year for us in-house, and he gets frustrated too. He's like, I don't know how to get a hold of people. These people say they may have not have worked for several months, and there's an available opportunity for them, and there's no callback, or there's a no-show, or
so you're talking about ghosting. Nikki, when people are ghosting you, are you saying that you've set something up with them?
Oh, yeah. They've actually made it through the phone interview, and we've set up a time and a schedule for them to show up, and they just don't show up. No phone call, nothing, just don't show up.
Corey, you're nodding?
Yeah, my recruiter, he's like, interviewed great on the phone. We set up a time for them to come out and talk to us, and they just don't show up. And then they don't, and this isn't all the time, but just having people not answer phones, not answer emails, and then you start really looking into their resume and things, and you're like, man, there's a lot of holes there.
Why would somebody go through the time to do a phone interview, to go through the process of submitting an application, and to set up all this, and then ghost you?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know about that one.
But it's consistent.
It's very consistent.
You both experience this.
Yes.
And I would say, I don't know if we could get too further from each other companies in here when it comes to HVAC service and air comfort service and jewelry business at the Diamond Shop. You're experiencing the same thing.
Yes. And it's also in the field and in the office. We see a lot more if it's office applications. The folks in the field, it's less, but you still see a lot of it. It's kind of crazy.
So, okay, Ryan, you said you wanted to ask a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to know, even before you came in here, the question I had is now, compared to a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, what is the difference in trying to hire now versus previous years? I mean, and really that is an open-ended question because it could mean anything among applicants, among the way you're doing it. I just want to know what the difference is now versus what it has been.
Well, I think for us, we have really gone in and focused on changing our culture for our staff. I mean, we went from being open 6 days a week to 5 days a week to give, that whole life-work balance. And it helps to have 2 days off so you can kind of decompress and get back up and go back and do your job again. And I mean, it's definitely, I think, a hiring aspect because that's something that's not really in retail in general. You never know what your schedule's going to be from 1 week to the next. You can't make plans, you can't make doctor's appointments, anything like that. And focusing on that, I think we're getting much better retention with the good candidates. But once again, it's really hard to get those good candidates in there to hire them and to see. I mean, it's all about, and I don't know about you, but we do the whole the team. It's a team. You have to fit into the team dynamic.
Corey, how have you, over the course, like outside of COVID, I was just talking to somebody else who I'm connected with, and they had somebody who really liked the hybrid schedule. Maybe they did a lot of the work remotely. In HVAC, you got to go where the HVAC system is if you're somebody like that. I remember talking to you, it might have been in 2018, and you were talking about how hard it was to hire good people.
Yes.
And you're like, you told me you literally had people telling you, I don't want to work when it's hot. And you were like, you sell air conditioning.
Yeah, you're an air conditioning business. Yeah.
I mean, it's been a difficult thing for a while to get people to want to show up and do labor. Like what you guys are doing is labor. Is that still part of the mix, compounded by some of these other things?
I think it's always going to be. I mean, we're always going to have that. And we're a seasonal business typically, but we've taken steps over the past few years for your question, to make it try to take the seasonality out of it. But it's a reality. It's something that we have to think about. And I talk to contractors quite often. I'm on a few different contractor boards, and we focus on how to attract people and how to make your company, everybody wants the best people. But it's amazing to me that a lot of companies out there, even established companies, don't understand that you've got to make it the best place to go, all right, or the best place to stay.
Right.
And my managers came to me a couple of years, or 2 years ago, year and a half, and I thought we had a pretty good benefit package. And they're like, hey, we need to do this.
Oh.
And I was like, ooh, okay. And we figured out a way to do it.
So wait a second. Let me just ask you a question. You saw that need and you did it yourself, and you didn't have to be mandated by the government to do it.
No.
You just said, I want the best people, and I'm willing to do X, Y, and Z to retain them here at Air Comfort Service.
Yes, and I've got a fantastic management team, and they came to me and they were like, this is what we think we need to do. And we always thought we were, the top, or in the top echelon. And then we realized, hey, we've got to keep evolving, and keep making it more attractive, which not only just for our field folks, but for the folks in the office too. And then talking to other contractors, they're like, well, I can't afford to do that. I'm like, well, I kind of got an idea where your pricing is. Yeah, you can, but it's an investment. And my thing back to them is our field people are production. I mean, that's what they do. They solve problems and they fix systems and they install systems. And if you've got a qualified quality person that can do that, and you're not treating them well, and not treating them well isn't you're not cordial to them, you give them the days off they need or whatever, but just a good comprehensive benefit package for their family. If that person goes somewhere else, what did you lose?
Right.
So the benefit, I like to say the juice outweighs the squeeze in this case, because it is if you want to be elite, you've got to put it out there.
Yeah.
And a lot of people won't put the investment out there. And I think now they're starting to figure it out because it's becoming so competitive. There's some people are bouncing around for minuscule, what you think is a minuscule, $100 benefit here or there, but it meant something to them. So that's making them leave.
Nikki, at the Diamond Shop, you guys are a family business. And the business at the Diamond Shop has been around, I think, I don't have my copy right in front of me, but I think it's 1910. Is that?
Yes, the business has been around 1910. The Cone family has owned it since the 40s.
And it's just, when you go into the Diamond Shop, you're going to get that family feel. But they need more people than those who are immediately within the family to make it operate in a way that is functional to everybody. And when I go into the Diamond Shop, and I've shopped at the Diamond Shop, thankfully my husband has shopped at the Diamond Shop too, and got me a little red bag, and I encourage you to go in and check it yourself. That type of family feel, when I was talking to Tom the last time I was in there, he was talking about how, there's so much that you guys can teach the right person that wants to work at the Diamond Shop, and the willingness is absolutely there to educate them, but they just have to have the right mentality. And it would almost boil down to, they just have to have the idea in their head that they want to come to work, they want to make money, and they want to be appreciated. And you guys are providing that atmosphere, and it still can be hard to get the right people in the building.
Yeah, and Corey's right. We changed our benefit package as well. As far as the dental, now we got vision, and we upped we upped the ante with everything on that. But we invest in our staff. That's what we think we should do. It's just trying to find people who are willing to come in and do the work day in and day out, and and do what it needs to do. I mean, we don't expect somebody to come in and walk in and be an expert. You know, you just got to have a personality. You just have to have a personality to talk to people and do all that kind of stuff. And we'll give you all the knowledge.
Nikki, based on that, you know, somebody who's listening right now, who's maybe they're looking for a job or you're looking to switch careers or whatever, whether they're looking in your field or your field, Corey, I'm not. I mean, maybe they have a job middays.
Can you imagine Ryan
and they
Wiggins
don't like
trying
their
to sell you
coworkers.
jewelry?
Oh, right.
Yeah, no kidding.
But maybe, you know, they're dabbling. But what are some general characteristics or qualities that you're looking for in somebody that, really regardless of industry, you want to see that they have these things no matter what?
I mean, it's pretty much you want to have the team mentality. You know, they got to be able to work with each other. They got to be able to, you know, trust each other, and we trust them with the business. You know, and so it's just basically they got to be able to talk to people. They got to be able to show up. And
see, that's the kind of things that I'm thinking of. Like, you just got to be able to show up.
Your requirement is come to work.
Yeah.
It's the reason I wanted to have you guys in to talk about this is because this is so consistent. Corey, I'd imagine you're talking to other business owners who are experiencing, they may not even be in HVAC, experiencing the same struggles that you and Nikki and the people at the Diamond Shop are.
All day, every day. Yeah. And it's funny because we make an investment, and we've done this for the past 5-6 years where we're trying to grow within. So, you know, we'll take, you know, really young folks and train them and teach them, and I'll invest in them through trade school and some other stuff, and it's an investment. But we have found by doing that, it's a longer process, obviously, because you can't just snap your fingers and, you know, have somebody qualified to do what they need to do.
It's like a farm system.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of how I look at it. I'm a big sports guy, and I look at it as a farm system.
Do you have anybody you can pitch?
No.
Just kidding.
We all have bad arms.
Yeah.
No, but it's a total investment. I have other contractors like, are you nuts? You're doing this. I was like, well, yeah, because we know we can identify just in a short period of time people that will fit our culture, people that are good people, that have a good work ethic and are wanting to learn. You know, we've got people that have been with us for, a matter of fact, to talk to my managers today. We're sending one of our senior commercial techs to this big training seminar for a controls system that we are qualified in. And he's excited to go.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just finding somebody that's hungry to learn. But you got to feed that, because if you don't feed it, it's going to turn into something else, or they're going to go somewhere else, and it's an investment.
So, Corey, HVAC is a trade, and I've had you on the show before to talk about, you know, the value of a college degree. I have a college degree. I'm proud of my college degree. It's something I achieved, and I'm grateful for, and I like I said, I'm proud of it. But the education system right now doesn't really match up for everybody. I think we're kind of getting a little bit more away from the idea that you have to go to college to succeed in America. That's not really everybody's path.
Mm-hmm.
But the trades, like I continue to hear people and read stories about how trade work is such a valuable place to invest your time in right now. If being out and about or working with your hands is something you're interested in, it's just a huge opportunity compared to some of the other things out there right now for people getting out of high school.
Oh my gosh, it's unbelievable. My son just graduated from high school, and he's got 3 or 4 friends that are going to one of the state trade schools.
Mm-hmm.
It's outside of St. Louis, and it's kind of the best of both worlds because they're going away for 2 years, so they get to live on their own, but they're also getting a great education. In the summertime, they do internships. So that's just an option, but there's local trade schools that are fantastic. So you're in school for a few years, and your debt at the end of those few years, in some cases, is forgiven. You know, if we take a few people on and we work with them on that, but regardless, by the time you're 4 years down the road out of high school, you're 2 years working in the field, and your buddy's still, you know, working to get his degree,
Racking up his debt,
yeah, and, you know, living in mom and dad's basement when they graduate, and you've already got your own place, and you've got a company vehicle, you've got your own vehicle, you have almost no debt because you've paid most of it off, and you've got a trade that nobody can take away from you. So, you know, if there is a turn in the economy and there is some kind of a layoff situation, you've got somewhere else to go. You know, you're not, and you're staying at the level that you left, if you kind of get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's something that you will always have. And I think it's wonderful because the 4-year programs, like you said, it's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody. They're important too. There's a lot to learn in a university system, but also once you've learned that trade, you're going to be, from what I understand, you're going to be in pretty high demand.
Definitely.
There's going to be a job out there for you.
And that goes across all the trades. It's carpentry, plumbing, electrical, even landscaping design. There's all kinds of different stuff you can do that, a lot of people like working outside, working with their hands, and it's fulfilling. And you go home every day knowing you fixed something or you built something, and it's something it's pretty cool.
Nikki, I know a lot of people out there, especially post COVID, a lot of people have reconsidered and kind of recalibrated their lives, reprioritized their lives. Sales is something that some people can sell. Some people can't sell. That is true. I would probably be one of those. I am so scared of someone telling me no. I'm like, what can I do for you? But if somebody is out there and they're thinking, you know what, I'm in sales, I'm good at sales, but I don't love what I'm doing right now. You were talking before about how they can come into the diamond shop. You're going to teach them the jewelry business.
That's right.
The right person who has a passion for selling and working with people and partnering them with the right product.
Yeah.
You can get that at the diamond shop.
We build relationships. We don't build, sales.
Mm-hmm.
We are a family. The Diamond Shop family. That's what we do. And, and I'm sure, Corey, with your clients too, you want to create that environment so that they come back to you.
Mm-hmm.
And with jewelry business,
but you can't do that without that staff.
Yeah. I was going to say with the jewelry business, it's generational, but it probably is for HVAC too. I mean, and there's a lot of things where my dad's like, call this person, call that person.
We've been around since 1969. Not as long as you have. That's impressive. That's really cool.
Yeah, very successful.
But we're working on third generations. So it's grandparents, the parents, and now the kids. And we're taking care of all 3 of their homes and sometimes all 3 of their businesses, and it's all word of mouth.
You don't get to do that whether you're in the jewelry business or HVAC business if you don't have good people working for you. I would bet that both of your businesses would say that it's the people who make up Air Comfort Service or it's the people who make up the Diamond Shop who have made that possible, that families are willing to recommend to the next generations. This is who you got to call.
Oh, absolutely. Without a doubt. I mean, we had, just the trades in general have, just like don't let your daughter take their car when they're at college to a mechanic because they'll take advantage of you. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's the trust that you build. And the same with jewelry. Fine jewelry is it's an art, and it's something that that you can't just go anywhere to get.
That's true.
You can, but you may not get what you think you're getting.
That's right.
Kind of thing. So yeah, it's the people. I mean, I always make this example. If what you leave in the life is like a lake. In the lake, the water's pristine, but every time you throw a pebble in there, it makes a ripple.
Mm-hmm.
But the ripple goes away and it turns back to flat water. So in life, I always try to say, make the biggest ripple you can.
Yeah.
But it's all this. That's the same in your career. If I probably have the smallest ripple in our entire company because we have built a team that knows exactly what they're doing. And we have a tradition that we have to live up to, and they all understand that too. So I want to make my ripple smaller than my entire team's ripple, just to make it part of the family.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Tons of sense. Well, I'm a happy customer myself of both Air Comfort Service and of the Diamond Shop. And if you're looking for a sales job or if you're looking to get into a trade, I highly encourage you to trust these people with at least a conversation that I'm going to tell you should show up for. If you make the appointment, show up for it because you guys are great. I appreciate you coming in and having this conversation. It's something that I hear a lot about. But, if you're only hearing the anecdotes from side to side, it's great to have people who are right there on the front lines trying to muddle through this economy and make the best of it for your businesses.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having us on.
Absolutely. Nikki and Corey, one from the Diamond Shop, one from Air Comfort Service. Thanks for being here. We're going to take a quick break. Annie Frey Show continues right after this. Don't go away. We're going to talk a little bit about that YouTube live chat poll. Who's winning the culture war? Is there even a culture war? We'll talk about it when we come back. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Frey Show.
Did you know the IRS is a super creditor? Hi, I'm Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. The IRS is the only creditor that can create a bill for you without your permission, then drop the hammer and aggressively collect it by wiping out your bank account, seizing your assets, and levying your wages. No other creditor can do that, and this can all happen without a court approval. If you owe back taxes, you need to be prepared to face the super creditor. Don't just sit back and take it. Fight back. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, we know how to use the laws to your advantage and go toe-to-toe with the IRS. Our office is located right here in St. Louis. Contact the Lance Drury Law Firm today for a free consultation with me, or visit us at lancedrurylaw.com or call 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120 to get started.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code OIL to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code OIL for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code OIL for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Centric Security and Automation online at STL.com, Centric with a C. If you're in a position right now where you currently carry a badge in and out of your office to access the building or to access specific parts of your building, Centric Security is there to help you with that process. If it's not working great, if it's not functioning the way it's supposed to be, or maybe it just needs improvement. Maybe you need to implement it. Centric Security can help you with that. Whatever your current situation is right now for the security of your business, for your building, for your intellectual property, and the people who you need, we've just been talking about that quite a bit, in your business to keep everything running. You've got to protect all of those things. And sometimes you put in place measures and then they stop working or they break down and you don't know the service person to call. I want to give you a heads up right now on Centric Security and Automation. They service the entire bi-state region here, and you can call them for product and for service that's going to be with you the whole time to make sure that you know how to access the information that you need, or if you have an instance where something happens, they're going to help you be able to find the information that you need to know. You call them at 314-442-6860. 314-442-6860. Brad Fraley has been in the studio with us and is a wonderful person who's built this really from the ground up. You can trust your business and the safety and security of it in the hands of the people at Centric Security and Automation. CentricSTL.com.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
Over 90,000 satisfied customers since 1929. Frederick Roofing, 314-645-2000.
If you want to lose weight, I've got a great idea for you. Mark Cox here for my friends at Victory Men's Health. They're now offering FDA-approved semaglutide. They have tremendous results with this medication. The average patient loses 15% of their body weight. Men and women can get semaglutide from Victory Men's Health at any of their 3 locations. Be sure and book your appointment today online at victorymenshealth.com.
This is a topic we've talked about before. We want to know what you think today. Who is winning the culture war? The left, the right, no one, or there is no culture war? Log on to the Annie Frey Show YouTube live chat poll and let us know what you think. The time is 1:51. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Conservative solutions, objective conclusions. For news and opinion, this is St. Louis's home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Frey Show.
Come with me now. Come with me now.
You guys still shopping Prime Day stuff?
I'm not actively right now, but
You
I
were
did
looking
quite a
last night?
bit last night. Yeah.
We'll talk about it in the 2 o'clock hour. If you have recommendations for any of us to make any purchases, or you see some really great deal on Amazon Prime Day, because we can't shop while we're on the air, obviously.
Right, we definitely can't do
not
that.
doing that right
Don't
now.
do that.
You're not going it yourself here. Oh, look at this.
Oh,
But
man,
everyone-
gift cards? I didn't even
Whoa.
know they had that on
This
there.
is fantastic.
We're not doing that.
Tweet us at Annie Frey Show, at Range Brad, at Radio Wiggins, and at One Hannah Gibbs if you see something that you think we cannot pass up. And yesterday I bought something that was suggested by a listener, and I cannot wait for it to show up. Today's YouTube live chat poll: who is winning the culture war? Is it the left, the right, no one, or there is no culture war? Ryan, what do you think?
You know what? I think the pendulum is swinging back a little bit. I do think the right is winning at the moment, but overall, I think we've discussed this before in this way, that the pendulum swings back and forth, but generally the fulcrum itself is moving left. So,
the Overton window.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna say the left is overall winning, even though at the moment there's tremendous pushback that is effective from the right.
So what are your vote? Your vote is what?
Is the left?
Okay.
I am going to say, Ryan, you're wrong. I
All
think
right.
that
Ooh,
beginning
something
of that beginning of a pushback is actually something a lot larger than people realize. To get people who are generally polite, generally go along to get along, to start reacting, to start acting out, to start speaking out, it takes a lot. And I think what you're seeing is the beginning of a really big push. And I think what you're going to see is the right winning the culture war.
I will add that I think the right is doing it because I think the right is currently winning it because there are people who are speaking out right now in a way that is just enough volume to be like, I don't really think that the crazy people on the left are where I am. They're not really saying, I will never shop at Target again. That's not the message that they're coming out with. I have shopped at Target since people started boycotting Target, but I'd never have made Target. It's never been my go-to. But there have been times where I was in need of something, and Target was the only place I could get it, so I went to Target. And I had this entire very, very entertaining and humorous thing playing through my head about what happens when two conservatives see each other shopping at Target.
Just like somebody from high school, you go, I didn't know that person. I don't know if they're what
do you do? Do you judge that they're like pro all the things you hate, or do you question that they were the way you thought that they were?
I think you walk up to them and you go, just scoping out the enemy, huh? Yeah, that's what I'm doing too.
It's like what happens when Baptists meet at a bar.
Yes.
How do you keep a Baptist from drinking your beer? You bring another Baptist. That's what I've heard. I don't know. You do what you want to do. I don't care. But walking into Target when what was I trying to buy? It was something that I was pretty certain that. Oh no. I was shopping at the Chef Shop in Edwardsville, which I incredibly recommend if you like gourmet popcorn candy.
Oh
my!
I think I know where you're talking about now.
They've expanded the popcorn part of it.
I need to. It's on my list.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
The whole time I was in there, I'm like, Wiggins would love this place. You probably shouldn't for your health go in there, but it's there.
I'll wear a mustache.
I don't think that helps your diabetes.
Well, we'll see.
Be like a fake pancreas or whatever.
Not how it works. Target's right next door. I was super crunched for time, and it was Molly's birthday party, and I needed to get something, so I went there. And I was walking in, and more people are probably going to recognize me in there than I'm going to recognize other conservatives. And I'm like, I don't know what to say. I was like, should I get a hat and some sunglasses and just wear them?
You should.
Like, you don't know who I am.
Groucho glasses.
I think that more people are willing to come out and be like, I'm just really not into that anymore. And I think that is an indication that the right might have started to win the culture war. Go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel and let us know how you vote in this. We'll wrap that up with Hannah at 2:45. Back in a minute. Don't go away.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. The crazy thing is, this never ends. Even when you die, your family's now going to be stuck with this burden. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-981-4455. That's 800-981-4455. 800-981-4455.
When the sniffles come back into your house and it's the middle of summer, what sucks more than a summer cold? I don't know, probably winter, because winter sucks. I don't know if that's what Air Comfort wants me to talk about here. It's just my personal preference on the seasons. I digress. When you have a summer cold and you're stuck inside because of whatever is out there in the air has gotten into your system and it's causing you an issue, Air Comfort Service has a solution for that. When the air quality stinks and you want to make sure the air quality in your home is not that way, they have a way of walking you through a process that can make you have your comfort zone in even more ways with Air Comfort Service. They have a variety of indoor air quality products keeping you in that comfort zone. You can call them for a free estimate on a whole home air purifier that will help relieve or eliminate things like allergy symptoms, pet dander, bacteria, viruses, odors, and more. Air Comfort Service is there to help you through that whole process. 314-513-0091, aircomfortservice.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Grilling the FBI director. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. Republicans on the House Judiciary Committee today accusing FBI Director Christopher Wray of weaponizing his agency and of a two-tiered approach to justice, where conservatives are targeted more than Democrats.
That includes Congressman Matt Gaetz, who read an alleged WhatsApp message from Hunter Biden seemingly using his father's political status to threaten a business associate.
Are you protecting the Bidens?
Absolutely not. The FBI does not and has no interest in
you won't answer the question about whether or not that's a shakedown.
But Democrats criticize the push by some to defund the FBI by asking Wray what could happen.
Dozens more violent gangs terrorizing communities, hundreds more child predators on the loose.
Wray is also pressing for a new FBI headquarters, but it's unclear if there's enough support in Congress.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz. At the NATO summit in Vilnius, Lithuania, President Biden met today with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. The president saying he's confident Ukraine will become a NATO member.
I look forward to the day when we're having the meeting celebrating your official membership in NATO.
NATO stopped short of formally inviting Ukraine to join the military alliance, but assured Zelensky there is a future path to join. The Consumer Price Index dropped to nearly 3% year over year, a significant decline from the more than 9% inflation rate a year ago.
In a statement, President Biden says good jobs and lower cost is Bidenomics in action. And says today's report brings new and encouraging evidence inflation is falling. High inflation has been a key complaint from Republicans who argue higher prices are directly tied to a surge in government spending by the president and congressional Democrats.
Fox's Jared Halpern. Two Birmingham, Alabama firefighters shot this morning in what investigators believe was a targeted attack at their station. Both are hospitalized. The shooter remains at large. America is listening to Fox News.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Shooing seagulls away from our beach snacks is easy, but keeping my frequent heartburn away, that was a full-time job. I had to chew up to 10 antacids a day to manage it. Then I tried Prilosec OTC. Just one pill a day blocks my frequent heartburn for a full 24 hours, giving me one-and-done heartburn relief. Thanks to Prilosec OTC, now my heartburn's on vacation too.
Prilosec OTC. One pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
We're going to be watching for some rumblings going on later on this afternoon, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m., the window of opportunity for 1 to 2 rounds of strong, possibly severe thunderstorms. 92 for the high, but once the storms move in, we'll cool back into the 70s. Simply rain, cooled air. Only a couple of spotty storms on Thursday. Back to strong to severe thunderstorms late Friday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
I was having a lot of sinus infections. My sinuses were clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure, it's just not fun, always walking around with a headache.
Now, her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of St. Louis Sinus Centers called balloon sinuplasty.
I really did not know what it was like to feel like you're really breathing and not being so clogged up. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would definitely recommend it for someone else.
Do you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, congestion? Find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Set an appointment today with St. Louis Sinus Centers. Call 314-332-2885. 314-332-2885. That's 314-332-2885.
Retired or retiring soon? How much money do you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1. Find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2. Have a plan to get there. Step 3. Make sure that plan can take advantage of market gains but protect you from market losses. Discover how to do all three with a free consultation at 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
You need a home or commercial security system you can rely on? Hi, I'm Dave with Reliant Security, and we're based right here in St. Louis. When you need us, I'll take your call. I've worked for the big box security guys, and I've wanted to do things differently. The right way, putting my customers first. We'll beat their pricing with fixed rates and no long-term contracts. From CCTV to personal emergency response systems to energy management and more. Let us secure your home or business. See all the ways you can rely on Reliant. Visit us at secure-reliant.com.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have all the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of things for our planet. This summer, try some eco-friendly water sports like paddleboarding, swimming, or diving. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
You could be watching this right now. Tune into the Annie Frey Show live stream. YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, Twitter. You know what? Just type in Annie Frey Show live stream. This hour of the Annie Frey Show is brought to you by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid, keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America, sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
This is the Annie Frey Show, and Ryan Wiggins was just in here. He started sneezing. He said, "Oh no," and he left the room. So we wait until he comes back. Trisha's in here. Hi, Trisha. How are you?
Hi, guys. I'm good, or I thought I was.
No, you're fantastic. What's your position at this building?
It's assistant brand manager.
Why do you say it with a
producer?
question mark?
Because
Is it
I
up in
never
the air?
remember if it's assistant or associate. To be honest, I don't know.
It's your title.
I also believe I'm acting office manager.
Is that how you feel?
I identify as acting office manager. Also, I have some of those tasks.
If you are just identifying, I would shoot for the moon on what you call that. Office manager, like office dictator.
Manager of the office.
Yeah.
Office emperor.
So every once in a while, Trish will come in the middle of the show, and she'll just say hi.
Just say hi.
Like nice people do.
Mm-hmm. Pleasantries.
But
I say hi all the time. You're looking at me like I never say hi. I'm always like, hi.
It's not about you, Ryan.
You literally don't say hi when you walk in this room every day.
Sometimes I do.
No, you don't.
Sometimes.
Out loud?
Mostly to myself, but
yeah.
It is out loud. Hi.
Ryan, if Trisha walks into the room in the middle of the show, like on a break, but in the middle of the show, are you thinking she has something to say to us? Or are you thinking, oh, here's Trisha just being her usual nice self?
She does both. It's really tough with her. When sometimes she'll walk in and she has no agenda. She just wants to say hello and be nice and be friendly. Other times she's leading with that, but she's getting to something.
Something's coming.
Something else is happening and she's leading with, I'm your friend.
Yeah.
And today I was like, I think based on my other interactions with her in the office today, I thought she was coming in just to say hello today. But you didn't know that.
She came in today, and she came in just to say hi, and then Brad said she looked like the hamburger.
That's not how that went.
That is how it went.
Let's rephrase.
There are other steps, but that is not a lie.
But when you leave out the other steps, it becomes a lie.
I said she looked like Beetlejuice.
You did.
I came in to say hi, and everybody started bullying me immediately.
This is why I don't say hi when I walk in, or I say it under my breath because I'm so afraid.
You say hi a lot, though.
Because I'm friendly, but when I walk in the studio every day, I'm like, hey, I don't want to interrupt anybody. Hey, everybody's doing good. I hope everybody's good. Everybody. I care about you as a person. But you did the same thing. You walked in. You didn't even want to try to interrupt anybody. You're just like, hey.
How we doing?
But then we all looked at you, so you had to address
Anything I
us.
can do for you guys?
And then Annie goes, you look like the Beetlejuice.
I said.
And Brad's like, nope, Hamburglar.
Yeah.
Okay, that's accurate.
So we need to know, if you get on the Annie Frey YouTube channel right now, she's in here, and I'm kind of voting for Brad's suggestion. But it's not as if you resemble the person that the Hamburglar or Beetlejuice is. It just looks like you're paying homage to one of them.
No, that's not the implication, was it? Because what she said was, when you guys both said that, she goes, my face? She thought that you meant her face looked like either a nightmare or a crook. That's what she thought in her heart of hearts. And then you had to say, now we have to talk about this.
And then Annie said,
yeah.
you stay?
No, there's more to it. She goes, you know, I'm not the first to think that today. I'm sure you've been in meetings where other people thought that.
Yeah. You said you've been in meetings where other people thought that. So now I'm
your outfit. I was going to make this point. Brad made it right before we went on air, which once we decided to talk about it, I said, let's not talk about it in the room. Let's talk about it on the air. When you go to Disney World, there are people. Hannah did this, I think, or she intended to, when we went to Disney World, where people will put together everyday outfits that are inspired by something Disney. And it doesn't have to be just like, okay, here's my Cinderella Disney bounding. I'm sorry, I hate it, and I don't do that.
Disney bounding?
It's what they call it. If you look up Disney bounding on Instagram, it's a whole thing.
That's definitely something I'm not going to do.
You will see, yeah, right. You will see people doing said thing, and but it doesn't have to be specifically to a princess. It could be towards like a scene from a Disney movie or something like
Quasimodo.
that. It could be like the house in Encanto or whatever you want.
I get what you're saying. It's like the colors,
Yes.
the vibe of a certain Disney.
You look like you're doing that for the Hamburglar, and it's ironic because Ryan came today as Grimace.
That's not I'm not wearing anything that's Grimace.
It's not your clothes.
It's his face.
Oh, I just came as Grimace? Let me tell you something. I have been trying to get that Grimace shake for a week.
Why haven't you
and
gotten it?
It is gone. Everywhere I've gone, I one time in one day went to 4 McDonald's and they were all out of it.
Was the ice cream machine down?
Yes, every single one of them. It was late in the day.
Have you had a Grimace shake, Trisha?
No.
No.
What's in it? Is it purple?
It's purple. That's all I know about
It's
it.
purple and it's apparently a berry flavor
Why do you want it?
because it's new and it's really good marketing. Whenever I see...
I think you were saying it's really good. How
no,
do you know?
I don't
Just
know.
marketing.
No,
You're
it's the marketing's great. I mean, I don't think they're even really advertising it anymore, but it was so popular that I saw it still on the menu today, and I was like, ooh, I didn't know that was there. But the marketing has been great because when you drive up past a McDonald's, their whole little marquee screen is all purple with just Grimace's face on it. I'm like, oh, it's childhood.
Gonna be honest. What about that makes you want to drink a shake?
Well, first of all, I love shakes. Second, it's a flavor I've never had.
You like
Berry.
purple stuff.
I just like
You're a purple stuff
Basically,
kinda guy.
if a child at the age of 7 would like it, I'm in.
Yeah, you're right.
Like whatever it
But
is.
You're a purple candy guy. You like purple.
Fair
flavor.
foods. I love anything deep
Collinsville.
fried. Why did I say Collinsville? 'Cause you
Deep fried Collinsville,
Deep fried Collinsville.
purple shakes, and
deep fried candy bars. I love that fair food stuff.
deep fried horseradish.
Anything like that.
Would you eat deep fried horseradish?
Deep fried horseradish?
I don't know.
I was
Collinsville?
agreeing, and you slipped that in.
Yeah, everything else you were saying made sense.
I've never had that. But horseradish, if you've never had it raw and really, really potent, go to the Horseradish Festival in Collinsville.
That's why I said it.
It is so good.
My husband, I'm getting the story right. My husband used to work on a horseradish farm, and he had asthma and had to quit because
I
it's
thought
so potent
I
when
would
you're
have thought the
working with
opposite
it.
would have happened. That would help you.
Like clear out your sinuses.
Yeah, clear it out and make you breathe easier. Wasabi does the same kind of thing.
Your sinuses and your airway passages are different
They
locations.
are different things.
I'm not a doctor. I'm not a biologist.
The good news, nasal cavities, incredibly clear. Throat, breathing capacity, not so much.
Interesting. Didn't know there was a difference. Well, anyway,
I think Trisha looks great today.
Thank you.
I can't
I
say
feel
that as a
good
man.
about myself.
You should.
This was a.
You look fantastic.
Can
This is a
girls
good
say that
stop.
to each other and it's no problem? Because a guy cannot say that to a
What?
girl. Oh, you look good today.
Why?
You don't need to say that to a girl.
That's what I'm saying. We cannot. Brad and I cannot say that to any female that is not our wife.
You can't say it to each other either.
Nah.
I don't. You can't say it in a way that is objectifying, but if I look nice, like I've dressed up, and anybody, man or woman,
Do you want
says
Ryan
to
to
me,
come tell you how he feels about how you look?
if he says you look nice today, I'm not.
Do you want me to
Like,
try out
ew,
different
great.
ways of saying that?
No. I don't like. I don't want to test this
There's gonna be a
theory.
YouTube shortcoming
I don't need
in
an onslaught of Ryan.
2, 1.
Yeah, because if you give me permission, I'll probably walk by every day doing something a little different. And it might involve woo!
Okay, let me take Ryan out of that. If Brad walks
Dang,
by
girl.
Do
and
we have
says,
an HR department here?
I think it's me. I'm
Okay,
acting
yeah,
HR.
that's
That's right. Yeah.
HR
She
dictator.
claimed
It's part of
title.
the office manager emperor.
Emperor, good. See, now you're getting the hang of this.
Ruler of all of the office.
So I can say it to you because we don't have an objective third party.
I take back what I said. You can't say anything, but Brad can say, you look nice today. And I'm not like, ew, Brad, don't compliment me.
I think I understand now.
You know what's weird? There's always been a Brad wherever I go that people compare. Now, Ryan, you can't, but Brad can.
Well, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Pause. Do you think that's because there's a Brad everywhere you go, or because there's a Ryan Wiggins?
No, it
everywhere you
reflects
go?
on me. What I'm saying is there's a plumb line, and that would be Brad. And then I exist a little bit outside of that, where people would say, this is okay for this individual, in this case, Brad, but it is not okay for you.
Brad Plumline range.
Sure, let's add it in there. I could add it to my job title. Plumline for Wiggins.
Yeah. You got to have You got to have a straight man. You got to have a normal to compare the weird to. Otherwise, it's no fun.
So in this situation, Brad's the straight man and you're not.
I kind of walked into that. I'll admit that I put that ball on
I'm
the
just
tee,
repeating what you said.
and you went ahead and hit
That's
that
what
ball.
you were saying, though, right?
Yes, that is what I was saying.
That's good.
Yeah.
You look lovely today.
Thank you.
You
Hannah?
do not look at all like Beetlejuice.
Thank
I
you.
said it 3 times right before you walked in. Is that a coincidence?
And then, boom!
Hi, guys.
Wow. That is
Just
really
popping
something.
in to say
He
hello.
says it every day at 2 o'clock, though, 3 times waiting for you to show up. This is the first time it's happened.
This will be the last time I wear this sweater.
No, it will not.
It will be. Yeah. Yeah, it's getting retired.
I honestly thought that, is it not Billy Crystal? Who's the other one?
Christopher Guest?
No, who plays Beetlejuice?
Oh, Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, same thing. I honestly thought that he had a yellow shirt under his black and white stripe. And Beetlejuice, I looked it up, has vertical stripes. So I was wrong.
Yeah, I think I look more like the Hamburglar, but this isn't the first time I've been confused with Michael Keaton, so it really could be either.
You know what would have been a great that she really missed out on is saying I was comparing you to the constellation because you're so bright. Beetlejuice, the constellation. That's what she should have done.
Is Beetlejuice a constellation? What?
Beetlejuice is not a constellation.
What is it?
Do you think that
It's a star, Ryan. It's just a star.
Whatever. That's
it's
what
a
I meant.
single
Same
star.
Thing. Doesn't matter.
Michael Keaton's like, darn right, it's a
Same
constellation.
thing. Same analogy applies. She could have done that. Clearly, she knows a lot about it. So she should have done it.
Who are you talking about?
I'm looking up the new Beetlejuice is what I'm doing because there's a new Beetlejuice movie coming out in 2024, apparently. Michael Keaton and Winona Ryder both in it. And Catherine O'Hara. Just letting you know.
This is the summation of this segment. You look beautiful. You always do.
Thanks, Annie.
Super fashionable.
Thank you.
And probably really loving the idea that you get dressed up for regular days instead of early mornings all the time.
Yeah, that is great.
You did your time.
That is great. Although, after this, I might go back to pajamas.
No!
Mhm.
Trisha, stop.
Just like my Stars and Stripes shirt. You'll never see that shirt again. Right?
I will not ever see your Stars and Stripes shirt again.
Nor will you ever wear that again.
You guys could swap.
We could swap.
I was going to say, this sounds like a swap.
Trisha, thank you for coming in to say hi. Please come back and say hi again.
Sure. Every day.
We appreciate you.
Every day.
All right. Let's stick around when we come back. More Annie Frey Show in a minute. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Jen Teskey, Remax Alliance, the team at the Teskey Homes, when you go call them or you text them or you visit them, the team there they're top notch and they're great people, but they're the best when it comes to helping you buy and sell homes. When you are looking to purchase a home, if you are looking to sell a home on the Illinois side of the river, you want the power of Remax Alliance and the Jen Teskey team to help you navigate that process. They're going to give you honesty, truth. They're going to be able to set you up for a quick sale if that's what you're looking for the dollar that you're looking for. They understand and know the market, and they will use all of their resources to make sure that your experience is one that you're going to brag about to other people who might be going into the same situation. They're incredibly familiar with the Illinois area, especially the Edwardsville, Glen-Carbon, Maryville, Troy, Collinsville area, and they are ready to work with you. Whether you're looking to sell your house yesterday or maybe within the next year or so, reach out to Jen Teskey Homes. 618-541-1010, 618-541-1010, online at jenteskeyhomes.com.
This Little Light is a new podcast hosted by Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Join him as he explores falling in love with music, music education, and the creative process while interviewing the biggest names in music, like Rick Rubin.
I like things that are stripped down. I've always liked things that are stripped down, but then I can get to the point where I like something that's stripped down and what's it like with an orchestra.
This Little Light is a presentation of Cadence 13. Subscribe and download it now on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
If you need a new bath or shower, call my friends at Bath Fitter of St. Louis. Mark Cox here. We love our new shower and tub enclosure. It looks fantastic. No demolition, no mess, and a lifetime guarantee. Right now, they're having a sale for 20% off up to $1,000 or zero interest until 2028. That's 5 years. Call 636-338-1648. That's 636-338-1648. Bath Fitter of St. Louis.
You've said it more than a few times dealing with this crazy world we live in. But at Compass Retirement Solutions, our four-letter word of choice is hope. Hope for a better tomorrow. And hope that your retirement plans don't take a back seat. You've watched inflation soar, and maybe your retirement future feels a little uncertain right now. But all hope is not lost. Find out exactly how much risk you're still taking with your investments. Find out how you may be able to save big on taxes. And find out how having a written retirement plan just might give you the hope you've been looking for. Call today to set up a meeting. 314-373-1598. That's 314-373-1598. Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax advice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory firm in Missouri and Illinois. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Man, I remember going back years and years and years. In the studio right now, there's an intern, and we're talking about he doesn't have any need for air conditioning, but he's not responsible for the heating and cooling equipment in his house. And it just reminded me, I don't know why, when I was his age, maybe a little bit younger, I was always told by my father that we don't need air conditioning. What did the cowboys do? How did they make it? There was no such thing as air conditioning, and they were riding on a horse through a desert. And I went, wow, I guess I don't need air conditioning. And then I went, you know what? The cowboys died when they were 21 years old. Do you think maybe they died by heat exhaustion? If your air conditioner is broke, we're going to try to get to you the best we can. Call me, Bart Inman. Remember, that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I, the number, Missouri and Illinois. One easy number, 314-293-2600, or Bart with a B, Inman with an I,
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Summer's just getting started. Still need your air conditioner checked? Schedule your HVAC system check for only $54. This is a limited time offer. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
There are many ways to listen. Most choose radio. But have you tried streaming? Download the Odyssey app and you can stream 97.1 with one touch. Or try it touchless by telling your smart speaker to play it.
Never made it as a wise man. I couldn't cut it as a poor man stealing. Tired of living like a blind man. I'm sick aside without a sense of feeling. And this is how you remind me. This is how you remind me.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
Is this Nickelback?
I was
Nelly?
just thinking the same thing. I think it is.
Yes.
Does Nickelback get excessive hate? Unwarranted excessive hate?
Well, it's just like the pendulum we were just talking about. I think that it was warranted, but it's swung back the other way now where it's probably cool to defend them at this point. But they do suck.
That has... Okay. I never thought that Nickelback deserved the trendy hatred that they got.
Trendy hatred is a great way of describing it.
Thank you. I have a way with words.
I hated them before it was cool.
That's something that you would say.
Yeah, that's hipster hatred.
Sorry.
Yeah, Ryan the hipster.
Yeah, I'm always right there.
I asked these two goofballs on the break. is there anything serious that we need to talk about?
I'll add that to my job title,
Ryan,
too.
what was your suggestion about Biden?
That we get outraged about something about Biden.
And I go, I feel like I want to make sure I cover all my bases. And if I have to look for something to fill another 10 minutes so I can be outraged about Biden, I'm not doing it.
I know.
I'm not doing it. I said I'm highly unmotivated. There's a whole bunch of factors that go into my motivation level on any given day to do, as some of you refer to as rants or whatever, and then I get 50% of your messages are like, that's my favorite thing you do, Annie, is when you go off on a rant, you tell everybody what's up. And then the rest of them are like, you shriek and I hate you. It's like, all right, well, at
Those
least
are my burners.
I know. I know who they're all from. But there's a point where it's just exhausting to try to go over everything that would kind of have me outraged, to where I don't know if are we in a moment where we can calm down a little bit, or am I numb?
I know what you mean. Yeah, my wife was asking me yesterday, like, what am I missing in the news? She'll ask me this once every week or two. Just fill me in case I'm missing anything big. And I said, it's the same stuff. It's
still important.
It's not. Yeah, I said it's the same. Like when you guys were at the border, how long have we been talking about the border being an issue? It's still a huge issue.
The Trump administration.
Yes. And it's not going away. We still have to shine a light on it because it's still a major issue. But you get worn out trying to fight these battles to the point where you go, is something happening, or am I just yelling into the void here?
Well, I think sometimes, though, you look at it and, like, this cliche, but the definition of insanity is doing something over and over and over again and expecting a different result. The problem is you can only be so outraged about something. If you're actually trying to affect change, you can only be outraged about it for so long. And if that's not affecting change, then you've got to approach it from a different angle. And I don't, like, to Annie's point, I don't see the upside in just spinning everybody up if there's no solution. I mean, make it aware and then provide a solution. And really, like, the problems that we're facing with the Biden administration and the administration in general isn't going to be fixed by us yelling and getting outraged on the radio. What's going to replace that is removing and replacing the administration and putting a better group of people in there to run things.
I would assume you would agree with me, both of you, that our patience and interest level in knowing the ins and outs on a daily basis is significantly more forgiving than the majority of people who are tuning in to 97.1 or the Annie Frey Show on any given day. We will suffer this foolishness for a lot longer before we get tired of it. Wouldn't you say? Than the vast majority of people listening.
Well, I think by its nature, we have to. Yeah.
Yeah, it's your job.
Yeah.
Do you also feel, I don't put anyone on the spot, do you also feel like in the world of talk radio, political talk radio, conservative political talk radio, there are people who are looking to be satiated every day in their own rage, listening, to tune it in, to figure out, like, oh, what are we angry about? Like, it's like a itch that requires a scratch.
Yeah, I don't know that that's exclusive to talk radio. I think there are just people in the world that are like that. But yes, that definitely exists.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. There are people out there that just want to know, that their rage is justified, and then they're not alone in it. And then there are other people out there that just like to feed off of it just so they can laugh at the people who are angry.
It's not something that in my civilian off-air life that I want to seek out things that cause me anxiety and stress. Mm-hmm. And you know, I've got a vacation coming up in a few weeks with my family, our normal summer vacation before kids go back to school. Well, I hate saying that out loud. And I will unplug and I will be gone and I will love every minute of it. And there's always a professional obligation that creeps back in on an interest level before I'm just genuinely curious. I do not see myself, I'm not with my family in Florida going, gosh, can I please have a hit of Fox News? I just got to look at Twitter. Mm-hmm. I got to know what they're saying. I got to say something. It's not happening. I'm like, where can we get the next Fast Pass? Mm-hmm. It's not about that for me. And on this show specifically, we tried to introduce levity because I think we all need it. But I think that we need it less than a lot of people who are listening. And the daily outrage is toxic. It's still great to be in America. It's still a great day to wake up in this country. It's still great to be able to have people like Corey Malone and Nikki and the Cohn family at the Diamond Shop who are partnering with us here on this station to be able to talk about how they've built something. They built it. It's theirs. And they have people that are your neighbors in our communities here who are a part of what they built, and they get to live an autonomous, independent life in this great country because that's the system we live in. That is still incredibly important and something to find joy in. And I don't know that there's a whole lot. I mean, think about that on any given day. Like what on our show sheet or on our cut sheet that I have right here that has 20 cuts on it. What on here is joyful? Nothing.
Not today.
And if we do something that is joyful, so we try to insert levity into what we do on a daily basis, and sometimes people will like it, sometimes people don't like it. We are always doing the best we can. We know that we're not ever pleasing everyone. We're just trying to do the best we can. But we are 482, my recollection serves me correctly, 482 days from the general election. Every day that passes, it's going to get more intense, incrementally more intense. So what's the responsible way, in our job, what's the responsible way for us to address that? Because some people will tune in and tell me I need to be a stronger warrior for the conservative cause, or I need to be a stronger warrior for my faith, or a stronger warrior for Second Amendment rights, or whatever it might be. There's all these people who are out there saying that if I'm going to be this person in the media or this voice for people, that I need to do X, Y, and Z. And I always kind of step back from that and have to ask myself, is that what I am? I might be a conservative voice or thought for people, and I'm very respectful and grateful for that. But I'm really just one person. Ryan, you are just one person. Brad, you're just one person. We all have individual thoughts. We have real discussions. We literally don't plan any of the conversation out before the show goes.
Especially in the 2 o'clock hour.
Yeah. Yeah, because we have an important subject to get to here in a minute. I think that before we get completely submersed in an election year, I think it's important to say, why are we here? And it's going to be different for different people. I love reading people's feedback, but it's just, if I have an open segment in the 2:25 hour and the first segment of the show of the 2 o'clock hour was a little bit light, and I come back and do another light segment, do people think that I'm not fighting hard enough? And I have to ask you, at what point are we just fighting for the sake of fighting? I want to bring people together.
Yeah, and everybody does. Specific to 97.1, everybody listens differently. I mean, we know that from looking at, history and ratings and things, that people tune in. Sometimes there are some people who just tune in when there's big news happening. They just, there's something big happening. I want to see what they're talking, what their take is. There's other people who tune in frequently, but you kind of dip in, make sure they know what's going on, then dip out. There's other people that tune in quite a bit, and then there's people who tune in all the time. So before I was working here, I was one of those people who tuned in, I would say, pretty regularly and more so as time went by. But I would compare it to, I just visited Chicago last weekend. I know generally what's going on in Chicago. I don't know every day what's happening in the politics of Chicago. But when I was there, I got to experience it for real, and I realized that really what drives my interest in Chicago is two things. One, I live in Illinois, and so Chicago runs Illinois. It does affect me. Second, Chicago is kind of a little microcosm for what's going on in the rest of the country, the way the left is running things. And I got to see a state where the politicians of that state, and especially of that town, have sold out their own residents so badly. I mean, from corruption for decades and decades and decades. There is so much corruption in that town that if I focused on it every day and got so outraged by it, which I could, I absolutely could, because there's enough there.
Yeah, you wouldn't be wrong to.
I wouldn't be, exactly. It's not wrong to look at those things and go, man, that is real and it is worth being mad about. but I dip into it just enough, and I'm kind of comparing this to probably a lot of listeners feel this way, dipping in just enough to know what's going on to make sure I've got my finger on the pulse, that if something's happening, I know what it is, and I know how to sort of respond to it, but not enough that it's going to drag me down every day. And I think that's kind of what you're saying is you have to find that balance, whatever that is for you, because it's different for every single person.
I think one of the most important things that this show does is give people a chance to exhale. You know, you look at well, let's take the Carol Roth interview for example. That was a great interview, very informative. But the stuff she was talking about was like some really heavy stuff about like the elimination of personal property and the plans that people are making to actually accomplish that. The part where she was talking about, you know, whenever the British Empire exited, the United States was right there to fill in. But when you look at who is there to fill in should the United States exit, you're not super excited about that because that's an authoritarian regime. You know, it's heavy stuff.
You got to be aware of that
and you've got to be aware of it because you can't be caught blindsided or flat-footed. You have to be able to adjust or react or even push back on it. But you can't make that your whole life, because if you make that your whole life, it's going to steal your joy. And that's one of my I've been a loyal listener of this show since probably when you guys came. Yeah, 2016 when you guys came on the air. And I've loved it because you got the solid, hard-hitting stuff. You talked about real things. But by the end of the day, you're just like, I don't feel depressed about those things. I feel energized and ready to go out. And I laughed till I cried sometimes. And I would be in a classroom and I'd have it up. I'd have the stream up on my computer. Substitute teacher. I'd be in a classroom. You know, the kids would be working on a project and they'd look over and I'd be crying because I was laughing so hard. They're like, what are you doing? And it's like, you got to watch this show. I said, if you're not into politics, start at the 2:00 hour, but you've got to check this out.
Yeah.
And I actually had a really good conversation with a guy at a softball game last night I played softball against him for years, but he just stopped me as I was walking out of the park and he's like, hey, I just want to tell you guys you're doing a great job.
That's
I
nice.
listen to you every day. My job has me in a car. He says, I can't listen to everything because I have to get out and do stuff. But when I'm in the car, I love listening to you guys. You got a great mix. You do everything really well. And I was like, wow. That's like, you know, when you have listener interactions and they tell you those things, that's really encouraging.
Sure.
So I think that's one of our strengths as a show is that mix that we have of seriousness and levity.
I think it's also important for people to understand. There is an active persuasion out there that exists that we somehow, from some entity somewhere, are told this is what you're going to do today. Man, I freaking wish.
Oh, I know what you're saying.
It's like, here are the talking points. Here's what you're going to say. Here's what you're not going to say.
Like that you walk in every day and somebody's giving you orders. Here's generally what you're going to be around today.
Yeah, that's not happening.
No, not even close.
We put this thing together every day. It's on the fly. We, generally speaking, do not know who's on the show the night before.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to book an afternoon show the night before because the amount of news that develops throughout the course of the morning, I want to give you a show that's different than what Mark Cox is giving you in the morning because he's giving you everything you need to know in the morning about the news that has happened and, of course, what he thinks about it. Brian Kilmeade is doing a fantastic job. We're so grateful to have him as part of this station and all the access that he has to some top-tier guests. I got to do something different than what they do. Otherwise, you don't have any reason to be here. So I take that really seriously, and it makes it very hectic. But there is, sadly, literally nobody telling us what to do, who to interview, what to talk about, what subjects to cover. It's our best guess every day.
That's why it's fun, Annie.
Yeah, it's for you, I'm sure.
I have a great time.
I said before the segment started, is there something we should talk about? And Ryan said, unless we want to try to find something to be outraged for Biden by. And I said, what if we talked about deodorant?
Mm-hmm.
What did you say?
I said I got some real personal problems with that.
So we're going to talk about that when we come back. We're going to get to it because I don't know what they are. But my daughter was using a different kind of deodorant than I was using, and I really liked the smell of it. So I've not changed. I don't know that other women, I don't know if women, I feel like men are probably pretty like, this is what I get, this is what I use, don't even talk to me about it. But I've changed the deodorant that I use, and you seem to have some strong opinions about your experience using deodorant.
I got some strong opinions about deodorant.
Do you think that's what I needed to say going into this break to keep people to listen through the commercial break?
I have some harsh criticisms of the way you guys smell.
Women? Us.
Yes. you all.
And you're going to let us know when we come back?
Maybe.
If you're allowed to stay in the studio. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Never made it as a wise man.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Frey Show.
This is how you remind me. This is how you remind me of what I really am. This is how you remind me of what I really am. It's not like you to say sorry. I was waiting on a different story. This time I'm mistaken. Beforehand I knew a heart worth breaking.
The Diamond Shop online at thediamondshop.net is having an event coming up. I got a message from somebody who was like, tell me a little bit more about that. What were the details again? Here it is. It's July 20th. It's the Diamonds and Doggies event, Thursday, July 20th from 5 to 7:30 p.m. And this is a great way to support the APA Adoption Center. 5% of all the sales this day are going to go to help benefit the APA Adoption Center. But what do you get out of it? 40% off all color stone in-stock jewelry, sapphires, rubies, emeralds, even more. When you shop at the Diamond Shop and you're going to see these beautiful, stunning gems, you are going to quickly understand why people do trust the Diamond Shop to give you the quality product that you've been looking for at a great price, 40% off. If you're a VIP at the Diamond Shop, which is simple and free to become if you go online to thediamondshop.net, you can sign up to be a VIP and save 5%, you'll get an extra 10% off during this event. Go to thediamondshop.net for all of the details and shop the jewelry shop that the Frey family shops. It's the Diamond Shop in Clayton, online at thediamondshop.net.
If you're planning a big outdoor project, July is the perfect time with Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Mark Cox here. Chesterfield Fence and Deck will give you 20% off your project if you mention my name in the month of July. They're celebrating 55 years in business. This is a locally owned and operated business since 1968, and they have a lot of pride in what they do. If you have their sign in your yard, it's a sign you have the very best. They do fences, wood, and vinyl. They make decks out of beautiful natural cedar or Vecadec vinyl decking, which is zero maintenance. You're going to love that. They also do custom sunrooms and screen rooms and pergolas and patios, you name it. A BBB Torch Award winner, highly rated by the Better Business Bureau, and they have financing options available. Call them at 636-532-4054. Mention me and get 20% off. Go to chesterfieldfence.com.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
This planet is so incredibly beautiful that I can't get enough of it. I did 950 miles on the Pacific Crest Trail, and Good Feet was with me all the way. Your passion's important, but if your body aches and if your heel feels like you've got a nail stuck in it and won't come out, trust me, it's going to wear you down. The Good Feet store knew what they were talking about and took the time to really dial in what I needed. I hiked 84 miles in the Himalaya and to do it pain-free. You think I'm not grateful for Good Feet?
Get ready for your summer adventures. Come to the Good Feet store today. Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations on Olive west of I-270 in the Plaza with Subway or in Shiloh, Illinois across from Deerberg's.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlewis.com. You deserve comfort in your life. Come in for your free test walk today.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
I'm Jim Onder. No one should be injured or be the victim of assault when using a rideshare service. These companies need to be held accountable.
Onder Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
This is Hannah, and today's YouTube live chat poll is asking who is winning the culture war, the left, the right, no one, or is there not a culture war at all? Let us know what you think on the Annie Frey Show YouTube live stream. The time is 2:46. This update is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Josh Hammer. The evidence here is just so overwhelming, Mark. It is overwhelming, and it's a very, very, very strong vindication of free speech online.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
is The Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Frey Show.
Guess who just got back today? Them wild-eyed boys that had been away haven't changed, had much to say. But man, I
So you wanted to talk about deodorant, Ryan. You got a stink?
I got a what?
Huh?
I got a sink?
Stink.
Oh,
We're
no.
talking
I
about
don't-
deodorant. It was a joke. I'll
No.
explain it in detail later.
I don't have a stink. That was all just made up radio stuff.
I said that I changed my deodorant because my daughter was using one. It's an
Yep.
aluminum-free one. So I wanted my daughter to be able to have
That's a big thing now.
aluminum-free. It's a big thing. I'm going to be honest. I don't really get it. But
I
it's
didn't
like,
know that it was a thing.
what good moms do, I think.
Yep.
So I was like, I guess. And so she used it, and I'm like, okay, I really like that. So I was going to try it myself. I've been using the same kind of deodorant for probably 10 years.
Yeah.
How, you said you change yours up?
Yeah, usually what happens is when Terry's shopping, she's like, they're out of the stuff that I normally get you. I got this other one. But I also like when it changes, especially if I like the scent, because it reminds me, yeah, you were still wearing deodorant. You know, you get used to the smell after
Your
a while,
scent.
and then you get a new one. You're like, oh, yeah, I'm still wearing it. All
So
right,
what do you
good.
use now?
It's still Right Guard, but I forget the name.
Okay.
It's like a tropical something or other.
Hannah, you said you ironically also just changed your deodorant.
I did just change my deodorant, and I really like it, and I can tell, like, I'll get a whiff, and I'm like, that's why I changed.
I'll get a whiff. Check that off your bingo card for today.
Yeah.
Who knew?
I'm a Dove user. Cucumber.
Like this?
Great stuff. Yeah.
This is the kind I just got. Dove, coconut, and pink jasmine.
I do genuinely have an issue with deodorant. And I need to
We can
know,
tell.
this is something that I've never even, until you said this, I'm like, that's something I need to explain because I need people to tell me if this is normal or if it's like, no, that's particular
Are
to
you
you.
prepared for whatever our answer
Yeah,
is?
really, because I really do want to know. So when I put deodorant on in the morning, if I do the spray, it's usually fine. But if I put on a stick, which I almost always do, I don't know if this is normal, but it seems to be the best way to do it. You do it before you put your shirt on because it's easier. You don't have to stick it under your shirt.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. So I put the
Depends.
deodorant on first, then I put a shirt on. No matter what I do,
get
after I
deodorant on the
put that
shirt?
shirt on, there are deodorant lines all across it.
That's why you put it on after you put your shirt on.
Yeah.
So I started being really careful. Where I'll put it on.
You're
Just
it
not
has-
putting it on
It
at
has
all.
nothing to do with deodorant. You're just trying to win.
Yeah, I kind of am. I'll put the deodorant on, and then I'll very carefully put just my head in the shirt, and then just an arm, and like really, really carefully not touch my underarm.
Still happens.
I still look down; it's still there. I really don't know how it happens. I don't know
Can I
how
ask
that is
you a
getting on
simple
my
question?
shirt. Yes,
Just put the shirt on first.
but then I'm going to get it on my collar and stuff.
What?
And I stick it under
what
my
are you
collar.
underneath?
No, Ryan,
You
you're
can go
doing it wrong.
underneath; it's
You're doing
fine.
it
But
wrong.
if I'm like, it depends on the kind I'm using.
Brad says you're doing it wrong.
You're doing it wrong.
So you're saying do it after
do
you
you
put
do
the
it?
shirt
If you
on.
didn't wear skin tight
so you
shirts,
go underneath. You go underneath your shirt through the bottom.
Painted on.
Grimace.
But speaking of skin tight shirts, I usually wear a compression shirt underneath my regular shirt. If I have a compression shirt on with sleeves, there's no way I'm going to be able to put deodorant on with sleeves. So I would have to put it on. But if it gets on the compression shirt, it doesn't matter because it's underneath. But I always get deodorant on my shirt if I put it on before I put my shirt on.
May I suggest to you something that will help? Clear deodorant, like the gel.
I've switched. Yeah, I've switched.
There you go.
And that does seem to help, but it's still, you can still see that it sometimes
I
gets
just
on there
think
anyway.
you're a messy deodorant applier.
I don't know. I mean,
You
people can
said
sling allegations
it'll
if
get
they
on my
want to.
collar.
one of those MDAs.
Yeah.
Ryan Wiggins, MDA.
I do not identify as that. I do want to know whether,
Do you do this every morning?
I would say more often than not. If
How
the
do you-
shirt is
you-
dark,
I don't see deodorant on your shirt. How did you just not
well,
wear
I'm
any this
using
morning?
the spray more and I'm using the clear one more, so I'm getting better. I'm getting smarter about it. But there's an Old Spice brand that I really like.
How many years have you had this problem?
Oh, multiple. This isn't a new problem.
Mm-hmm.
This is one that I am adjusting, but I have, it's Old Spice. It's the white stick.
Okay. Joe says maybe wipe it on the pits of your shirt before you put your shirt on.
No.
What?
No.
I've never heard of this before.
Oh, that'll ruin a shirt.
Hunter says if you switch to Axe body spray, it won't leave lines.
Oh, yeah, but
plus
also
girls will just flock to it.
Yeah, Ryan's also not in middle school.
Man, 13-year-old son, and I know people make fun of Axe, beats the alternative.
Uh-huh.
I have Old Spice deodorant and Axe stored in emergency places in my life everywhere. I mean, everywhere. I have no shame. I bet I have deodorant in that bag, in my glove compartment, in any bag I carry anywhere, because if my kids are out and they are getting to the age where you just stink when you're that, like if you stand up and just break a bead of sweat, it's just everybody's business.
Oh, yeah.
Put the deodorant on. Axe body spray way beats the alternative. It's in the amount that you apply.
Yes. I actually do the same thing. I have a stash of deodorant at the youth group for kids because when we go out and play a game or whatever, the trick is pulling them aside without everybody else seeing them. Be like, hey, come here. You need some of this. And they're usually appreciative of it.
I would hope so. Well, there's no other way to do this. Let's do the YouTube live chat poll.
Today's YouTube live chat poll is asking who is winning the culture war? The left, the right, no one, or is there not a culture war at all?
You said the left, right?
I said the left. Yeah.
I said the right's winning.
I said the right. You have a thought?
I don't think anybody's winning.
Okay.
Yep.
You want to read some of the comments?
Yes. Let me get to them.
You should have said no, and we should have sat here in silence.
Sorry.
Chris F. says the fact that there is a culture war means that everyone is losing, so he doesn't think that anybody is winning. Pond says the left has been winning, but the right is coming around because folks that have been keeping quiet are starting to speak.
Little too much L in that.
I was going to say, that was
wrong.
folks. She did it right.
She did it wrong.
I wasn't
She's
even
a little
thinking about that
protege.
either.
Good job, little Hannah.
You're going to grow up to be just like Ryan Wiggins, Hannah.
Folks.
It's like looking into
There
a
she
mirror.
Mark Reed says the right has a horrible time winning a culture war. They always have and always will. STL says culture war, there's not a winner. It's that the left keeps trying to push us more leftward, but it only creates more substantial pushback. Fast movement is always obvious and opposed by reasonable people.
Before we get to the results, can I feature Joe's follow-up comment to the put the deodorant on your shirt? He says, I needed that delivered with some humor. So I guess sorry, Joe. I failed
Okay,
you.
thanks. Just put it on your shirt. You got to be wearing a tight shirt for that to work.
Ryan's going to be going home tonight going, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot, I guess. Let's put it on this suit jacket.
Brian Dowd said, I voted the left. Republicans have sat back on their rear ends far too long. They can raise their voice, but not sure why the silence.
Brian, careful with that language.
Trisha just messaged me and said, every time you guys say deodorant, I check to make sure I don't stink. It's an involuntary reaction, and I hope no one walks by when it happens. If you're in an office right now and people are checking their pits, you now know that you, too, are an Annie Frey Show fan.
That's right. Just go around smelling yourself, and you'll know who also listens to the show.
Deodorant? Am I right? You're going to get punched. Don't say that. You want to do the results?
Yes. Who is winning the culture war is today's YouTube poll question. The left, the right, no one, or there is no culture war at all. 42% of the people said that the left is winning the culture war. 31% of the people said that nobody is winning. And then tied for last place, 14% say the right, 14% say that there is no culture war at all.
Interesting.
Yeah.
14%. I think it surprises me that 14% said there is no culture.
Oh, just changed to 13 and 13, 30 and 42.
You know, I could make the case, I could agree with people who don't think that the right is winning, because the difference between the right winning it and honestly where I feel where the right is, I feel like the right is making massive strides and gaining, but I don't know that they're winning it yet. So I could kind of understand that too as well. Thank you for being with us here today. Check the podcast or rewind on the Odyssey app, AUDACY, and follow 97.1 FM Talk there. And check our interview with Carol Roth, who was talking about her latest book, You Will Own Nothing and Be Happy About It. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see what that book is about. Plus, we spoke to Deroy and had a roundtable discussion with Corey Malone and Nikki from the Diamond Shop. Thanks for being with us. The Mark Reardon Show right here. Don't go anywhere. He'll be in here in a minute. We'll be right back with the Mark Reardon Show next.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine